Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another live stream. We're talking all things season 1 of Doctor Who. We are halfway through Ncuti Gatwa's first season of Doctor Who, which is wild. We're nearly halfway through the year as well, which again, absolute wild thought. So we thought we'd check in how we're finding this season, how we're finding RTD2 so far, and what we're looking forward to over the next couple of weeks while we've got Doctor Who on our screens at midnight, really. So once again, I'm joined with Luke.
Yes, hello everyone. It's good to be back again. Good to be checking in with you all. We did one of these a couple of weeks ago, talking about Stephen Moffat's many stories on the lead up to Boom, which was very exciting to look back on. We sort of briefly touched on how we felt about the first couple of episodes. Obviously, you've got some little reaction videos out after each episode as well, giving your initial thoughts to
the
little
gut check for him.
Yeah, and sort of, I feel like with Doctor Who, it's an ever evolving opinion in some ways, isn't it?
Yeah, you rewatch it, you reevaluate it, you see it differently. Sometimes you watch something first time, and then you watch it the second time, and you're like, I don't like it. But it's normally the opposite, where you're like, oh, I like it a bit more now.
Yeah, once you see what it's going for. I think it's the same when you've got a start of a new era. It's all like takes a while to see the full vision. And I think now halfway through, it's nice to see it a bit more and appreciate some of the earlier decisions a bit more as well. Like coming off the back of 73 yards, which is quite a lot bleaker than you usually would expect a Doctor Who episode to be.
It's no Space Babies.
It's one of those ones that does hit you quite hard. And so after that, I felt, you know what, I kind of want to rewatch the Devil's Cord just so I could see these characters have a bit of fun again.
Yeah.
I need to watch Ruby have a good time. So yeah, and it's funny appreciating those tonal differences now that we've had both ends of the spectrum on display. And yeah, I think it's nice to know that as fun as those first couple of episodes were, with they're very zany, aren't they? Space Babies, Devil's Cord, and Church of Ruby Road as well. It's nice to know that that's not all Doctor Who is at the same time. We have got quite a bit of variety there with Boom and with 73 yards, giving us some different tastes. And it looks like Dot and Bubble again is giving us something a bit different there.
Yeah, Dot and Bubble looks like it's doing something, isn't it? It's doing a big social commentary on social media, isn't it? Really, which is going to be exciting.
Yeah, because I mean, I think we've all been in that bubble of looking at our phone, and you sort of get dragged away from the world around you a bit.
Yeah,
like someone will say something to you, you'll have heard it, but you won't have processed it. You have to put the phone down and go, "I'm sorry, what was that?" And so it's interesting having this be a literal bubble that goes around you. I think that's quite a fun little bit of commentary on that there.
It's interesting that Russell had this idea back in 2010, and obviously probably budget reasons, and probably the idea probably hadn't properly formulated, and now we've got a bit of mouse money. We can see it in its true form, really. And I think, we've seen a social media change and evolve with things like TikTok and how we consume content online, but we seem to be more about snapshot of content where we just get a quick fix. Form. Yeah.
Perhaps is our attention span being slowly driven down and grinded away by such things? All right. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what Russell has to say, because admit he is a man in his 50s. You could very easily have a boomer situation here of complaining about
old man shouts at sky.
Yeah, technology and youth, but with Russell, I feel like he's smart enough not to do that, and there's more to him. And I mean, he's very savvy on social media as well. Anyway,
well, I think he's the only he's the only showrunner on social media properly. I know Moffat joined quite later on. Yeah.
But yeah, Russell certainly has that sort of presence there. And, sometimes you see him saying things and you think he's in the trenches with us.
He knows. He
Yeah,
knows.
he reads through some comments out on Twitter. Yeah, I mean, particularly there was that letter from the showrunner, wasn't there? A couple of probably about a year ago now, actually, a while ago, where he said some things that are very much like, oh, he knows, he's been on Twitter.
Yeah, he knows. We know what you're getting at, Russell. We know you're here, Russell, watching, because you've got to kill a bit of time before the midnight premiere.
Yeah, I mean, he's asked people to film their reactions, hasn't he? Or hopes people will film their reactions to the finale.
Yeah,
which makes you think he's going to be out there watching a couple of them to see.
Oh yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes down to his local cinema and sees it there.
It's been wonderful having that interaction with the fandom again. And I think also, it's not just that, it is as we mentioned, letters from the showrunner, having Doctor Who Unleashed as well, we're getting interviews with him. The Doctor Who podcast, for better or for worse. I think there's some opinions about that, but I just watched the little preview bit they get from Russell in the clip, and that's about it, really.
Yeah. I think you realise that's either your thing or not, so it's all fine.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just wonderful being in this space of Doctor Who pushing itself that much more again. Hoover the Small Collection says, hey, just been reading my first Target novel, then I got the notification. Thank you for putting the book down,
your book,
and choosing us instead.
You can join the bubble. You can join the bubble.
Where you read? Yeah, you've left your bubble to join our bubble.
Yeah, so there we go. It's all good. All good in the hood.
Hi Ben and Luke, have you got any update on the Day of the Daleks stream? And how are you tonight? Asks Daniel Hager. We're good, thank you, Daniel.
We're good.
How about you?
Yeah. In terms of Day of the Daleks, we can say it's not a stream.
It's a pre-recorded video. We recorded it quite a while ago now.
We recorded it on Tom Baker's birthday, the 20th of January.
Had a wonderful time with Stephen and Nick.
It was a brilliant highlight of my year so far. Very surreal. It was a nice over 3 hour chat we had.
He was very generous with his time, wasn't he?
Very generous. It's been cut down a bit, obviously, because we don't want to give you the whole 3 hours and go, here, enjoy. Stephen is currently editing it, and you're going to love it. It transcends.
He's been showing us stuff, and it has been amazing.
Yeah, it transcends your Doctor Who podcast. It's not something you can just have on in the background and listen to. It's something where you're going to want to watch it because there's little clips in there what really elevate an already brilliant conversation we had. And it just is a great sort of celebration of the night, really. I don't really know what else I could say.
Stephen Noonan's magnum opus, I suppose.
Yes.
Because, I mean, if you've listened to any of the behind the scenes for the first Doctor Adventures and such, you know that he pours his heart and soul into those releases. He does a lot of research into the first Doctor voice, into how William Hartnell pronounces different words at different points as well, for different tones of stories, whether they be the more comedy or the more serious ones, how that performance evolves. He has got it down to a fine art. He said that oftentimes Nick will say, "Oh, would he say it like that?" And Stephen will be able to hit him back with an example of a time that
he'll bring up a clip.
Did say it like that, or say something similar along those lines in that way. And so you see that dedication there. You see he is an incredibly hard worker, and he's been doing the same with Day of the Daleks. Really, he wants it to be the best it can be, and it definitely looks like it will be. So, we can't wait to share it with you. But
stay tuned.
Yeah,
there is a date
in mind, but we don't want to put it out there just yet because you never know, things change. But yeah, it will be coming, and it will be amazing. Thank you all for your patience with that one.
I mean, I think it's worth the wait. From the bits we've seen, it's going to be good, and I think it'll be the best video we've ever done. Which is a bold thing to say, and we've done a lot of videos, so there we go.
We bloody have,
and there's plenty more to come as well.
We've got quite a few in the pipeline that we've pre-recorded, but just
back in January, some.
Whovian with Small Collections says Dot and Bubble is so up my street. Glad you're looking forward to it. Hope it pays out. Hi, Hoovian with Small Collections, says Daniel Hager. And Hoovian says, hi, Daniel back.
Hey.
I just know Russell is a SKS fan.
Oh, yeah, she's like a reactor, isn't she? Yeah, she's like an American. Yeah.
I thought this was like a description of a kind of fan, not an actual.
Yeah. It's
I see.
It's a reactor. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've just read the rest of it. Yeah, front row to all her Doctor Who reactions. There we go. To be honest, it was the Daleks target novel, so I just finished the Unearthly Child part and now entering the Dead Planet. Oh, nice. That's like the very different style of opening to Doctor Who. It was David Whittaker who did that one, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was David Whittaker, and I think Stephen. Speaking of Stephen, he did a little animation for it, didn't he? Is it Meeting on the Common? Part of the Vorp magazine. So, yeah,
and I think, the Common itself. What Common is it?
Oh,
this isn't a Stephen Noonan style quiz question. This is me.
To
remember what it
is. I've got a comment in my head, but I'm like, that's something Stephen said on another stream because it was I can't remember.
Venom
No.
Barnes
Common.
Barnes, I knew it was a B. Yeah, Barnes Common, which was apparent because in the it's mentioned in the David Whittaker documentary on the season 2 disc as well, that was quite like a special local place to him.
No, I've not watched that documentary actually.
Yeah, the Looking for Whittaker. It's very moving. Yeah, definitely worth.
You normally get the one big feature like that on the collection sets.
Yeah. I mean, funny if that was one I forgot about, actually. I think when we did our season 2 Talking All Things video, we forgot about that one completely. And then Stephen in the comments quite rightly said, have you watched this one? I was like, oh, I forgot that was even on there. And so it gave it a go. Yeah, it was brilliant. What was I saying about Barnes Common? Yeah, it's referenced in the He Who Fights with Monsters.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it is.
A nice little reference to a different continuity, I suppose, with that Daleks target novel. So it's funny how these things all come into canon somehow eventually, if you even class that Big Finish story as canon. But you know what I mean. It's all canon somehow. Even the Small Collection says timed perfectly. The best Stephen Noonan line is when he says the Holy Grail. Yeah, that's with old Cheryl, isn't it?
Yeah, the Outlaws. Yeah.
Daniel Hager says, I got this theory that this year's second Doctor Big Finish box set for July will be delayed, as we've got no news on this year's July box set. Yeah, we are still patiently waiting on that.
Well, we've got Vortex out possibly tomorrow.
Yeah. Possibly Monday. I don't know if they do it. Yeah.
So we could get something for it.
Because usually for your Vortex, it's previewing the following month. So May previewed the June releases. So now June's going to preview the July releases. Yeah, we'll see what occurs there. I feel like it would have been delayed already if they were planning it. They do sometimes wait quite late with these second Doctor releases. So last time it was somewhere near this time of year.
We
know it's been recorded though. They've got recorded dates on the website.
I mean, I'm excited to see the cover, just
Yeah.
to see if the painted style is gone.
Yeah, 6th from 25th to 26th of March this year. It was done.
So it might just be in production still, like post production for it.
I mean, if it is pushed back, I won't be too upset because we're still getting a lot of Second Doctor content in July. You got both Death World and Operation Werewolf still. So, the Art Decadence cover is that Mara from the end of the trailer.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, they've got it on the website with the text.
Oh, I thought that was just a placeholder.
I thought it was a placeholder as well because they hadn't put it up quite yet. But now I've just looked on the website, and yeah, it's got like the all the text and stuff. You know, forecast audio drama, who it's starring, and everything. Surprising.
It's interesting. Are you going to pick that one?
Because it certainly is a bit different for a Torchwood, and you sort of do want to see your main characters when then you.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's still a very beautiful image.
I mean, it does sound very good from the trailer. I did like the sound of it.
You're going to be picking it up.
I'm close to it because I've sort of thought I said goodbye to the Torchwood stuff, but they pull me back in some way.
All right, I'm still trying to convince you to get Tube Strike because that's a very good one.
I mean, yeah, I like the sound of Tube Strike because it's Weevils and classic Torchwood. So
yeah, and the London Underground, we all love a bit of that as Doctor Who fans. Brings us right back to the coziness of the Web of Fear. I think they already delayed War Room. Yeah, that's gone back from September to November now. So hyped
just have to wait and see.
Release, says Who a Small Collection. That's certainly an intriguing one. But yeah, I mean, we're also still waiting on Dark Gallifrey War Master news.
I imagine we'll get a huge drop, won't we, in Vortex probably?
Yeah, it'll probably be all 3 covers in one again, like they did for the first batch of Dark Gallifrey with Morbius.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if they'll wait until after Dark Gallifrey Morbius though, because we know now that that's coming the 20th.
That makes sense.
Of July, which is quite instead of June, sorry, which is quite late. So I feel like they'll probably give us details before, unless there's something crucial that needs to be kept hidden. Yeah, we'll see. Let's see how that all plays out. Who was Small Collection says, I think the ones they have announced recently might all be Doctor Who villains. I think there's a possibility the one that's talk about the devil and demons might be Azal and Torchwood, but I might be looking too much into it. I suppose after we had that Torchwood versus Monsters batch the first time, where it's the 4 of them, I mean, people got their hopes up, us included, that it'd be 6 of them, because that was always how, or still is how the Torchwood bundles work. It's 6 or sometimes 12 as well. So yeah, I think we're all assuming that there's going to be 2 more classic monsters there. But no, I mean, we kind of got more than 2 classic monsters actually, because we've got Double and the Great Sontaran War. I don't know more. But yeah, I certainly wouldn't rule it out completely, but I feel like there's now going to be those surprises every once in a while of classic monster or something turning up in the Torchwoods. But yeah, I don't know if they're going to do another gimmicky one of Torchwood versus Monsters again.
Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. Because they've been quite good with the Torchwood details so far, haven't they? Really, they normally sort of let them sit.
Make you wait, and then they splurge them all out.
Yeah, so we'll just have to wait and see. But it'll be nice because it'd be great to have like that Halloween story. Maybe Silurians with like the Hollow Choir.
Yeah,
that'd be quite cool.
Cave.
Just have to wait and see.
I feel like with Widdershins though, that seems more like it's Torchwood themselves, and we don't know quite what characters, if any, that we know of, are going to be in relation to that. But I feel like instead of it being an alien threat, it's more Torchwood being dicks.
Yeah.
Which, I think is what you like really from your Torchwood. You got your Doctor Who for your pure white and sparkliness, and then this is your touch of grey, isn't it?
Hmm.
I suppose. Shall we talk about how we're feeling towards?
Yeah, we can.
One, Ncuti Gatwa, Millie Gibson, Russell T Davis, everything that's going on at the moment in the world of Doctor Who, really.
Yeah.
So it has been a while since we've got a full series, although it kind of felt like we were getting
Does
back
Flux
into
count?
it. Yeah, that's true. But I don't know, it's only 2 episodes shorter than season 1. And only 1 week shorter because we had Space Babies and Devil's Cord together in one go.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of like Flux, it's one big story, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I don't know, but yeah, it's been 2021 at least.
Yeah.
Specials.
Specials, some bunched up specials, another special, and then finally Space Babies and Devil's Cord in one day. Which probably makes it feel like this series is going faster than it perhaps is.
Yeah.
Because even though we're 4 episodes out of 8 into it, we're only 3 weeks out of 7 into it. So kind of halfway, kind of not. Although now it is halfway because we're right before Dot and Bubble. I mean, I'm going to just come out and say, I mean, it's not exactly a secret. I'm really loving this season. I'm having such a great time week to week. I have not been this into Doctor Who in a long while. I think, yeah, the 60th specials really did something for me as well. That certainly helped get me more and more into the mood. But there was always like that slight apprehension of, okay, this is the throwback to my childhood. This is David Tennant and Catherine Tate again. Is this just a one-off for that? Is that momentum going to keep going with Ncuti? And I mean, he was obviously amazing in The Giggle and continues to be amazing throughout Church of River Road in season 1 as well. It's such a wonderful Doctor, such a youthful energy to the Doctor again. He's a very Russell Doctor. Yeah, unlike any we've had, but still perfectly the Doctor. I think you have those Mina moments that are a bit Eccleston-esque, but he also has that warmth that Tennant brought to it as well, that energy, which, in a way that doesn't feel like a parody. Because I think sometimes you will see things out like fan casting where you think, oh, that's just a Smith-esque character or a David Tennant-esque Doctor,
You think, oh, that's going to be like a one-trick pony.
Yeah.
Doctor.
I mean, you've also got some Matt Smith in there with the slightly more alien nature, mainly in the way that he forgets what time Ruby's from and such.
Yeah.
Like, you've got him going on about Roger Ap William in 73 Yards before saying, wait, what year are you from again? I don't think that's not something that the more down-to-earth Doctors of Eccleston and Tennant would have done.
Yes.
But it does feel more in line with the Moffat-esque Smith and Capaldi. And then certainly you got a lot of Capaldi energy within Boom, which makes sense, written by Moffat.
Boom is just 12 and Clara, I feel.
Yeah, I got some Clara vibes from Ruby as well in that episode. Like some of the lines she was given did feel a bit like the tell me what you're not telling me, things like that. Yeah, there's certainly that sort of energy. I mean, companion dying as well, very Moffat.
Yeah.
Or coming close to death, at least. And then being healed by the ambulance. But no, I have been having such a great time with all these episodes, really. Yeah, I think it's amazing to be this into Doctor Who again on TV, because obviously been a fan for a long while, still getting all the classic Who Blu-rays, DVDs, big finishes. So it's not like that fandom has ever gone away. But
Well, it did
on the
go away for you
TV,
in like Series 7.
yeah. But I feel like that was a long while ago.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
But I feel like since then, my engagement with the TV series has sort of been more of a, oh, I've got to watch it because I'm a Doctor Who fan. It's always more of a, not necessarily the chore, because
Yeah.
but there was a lot of getting my hopes up that, oh, maybe this time things will be better, and then it not always working out for me, or it just being, okay, that was a fun way to pass some time. But
I
don't
think
really
that's the thing. You see the potential in the stuff, and you're like, oh god, it was so close to getting it nearly.
Yeah. Whereas now, I have issues from time to time with these episodes, but I just sort of shrug my shoulders and get on because I'm still enjoying it overall. I can see there's some flaws, but it's not detrimental to my enjoyment of it. Whereas with a lot of the Chris Chibnall era, I was like, right, why isn't this working for me? I was not vibing with trying to work out why. Whereas here I'm very much enjoying it. There's a little thing that I go, oh, I maybe would have wanted that to be a little bit different, but I don't fundamentally want these episodes or the show to be different. It's just like minor little things in execution, I suppose, which, when you're nitpicking like that, it's strong. I mean, some examples would be a bit of the weird editing in Space Babies, I suppose. It does feel very quick at times, and you've got that whole push the button thing going on where they've clearly cut out a little jukebox sequence at the start of the episode. I mean, first time watching, I was like, wait, did I miss something there?
Yeah.
But no, upon, seeing it all over the internet and rewatching the episode, realizing, oh no, there's definitely something that's been cut there. I think, all the other episodes are fine, really, with that. But Space Babies is one that does feel like it's suffered a bit in the edit and does feel like it's in a bit of a rush, I suppose, for no real reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a funny one. But nevertheless, I'm still enjoy it, really. How about you? Where are you at with season 1?
I'm in a bit of a weird place with it.
Oh.
Because I like what I am experiencing, but I think coming off the 60th specials, which I know it's wrong because they're specials, they're something very different, but the amount of love I had for those, and having David and Catherine back, I know nostalgia is a dangerous bugger, but I was so invested in this, and I still am invested, but I don't have that same level of engagement I have with this season. It's hard to describe.
For me, I feel like it's built off that hype from the 60th, which I suppose was probably the intention. Whereas for you, having David back, only for him to be snatched away from you again is...
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to be having more 14 and Donna right now.
Which is made even worse by the fact that they are technically still out there.
They're still out there. So
unless he has actually died in Venice.
Come on, Russell. It's not happened on screen, so therefore it's not real. Yeah. It's still out there.
How about Ncuti Doctor himself? How are you feeling?
It's taken me a little bit of time to get to like him. And I think with any Doctor, you can't really judge them until the first season's out. I think the giggle it was wrong for him to be
David there.
Yeah, because you're naturally going, I'm more invested in what 14 story is than 15, when really you should be like, the old guy is, old king's dead, long live the king. Here's the new guy.
What it feels like it's like, you know, when you got a crossover episode in a show,
Yeah.
but it's like you haven't watched the other show.
Yes.
So there's all this hype around this character from a different show, but you don't quite get it because you've not watched that show.
Yeah.
That's almost what it felt like with the 15th Doctor in the Giggle. It
Mm.
doesn't quite feel like an introduction. It feels more like oh, he's here. Which makes sense in one way because they're still the Doctor. They're all the Doctor. They're all the character we know, but there's still differences there as well. But yeah, for me, I was on board from the start of Church on Ruby Road.
See, Church on Ruby Road made me sour so much. I was like, God, is this really what Doctor Who is now? I thought, God, this is rough.
That's what it is.
It's horrible. I mean, I've not even finished Church on Ruby Road. I've still only watched 20 minutes of it. And that was enough.
It's
I mean, I've ordered the box set, so when the box set drops, I'll watch it.
It's there on iPlayer right now.
No.
You'll be lost by the finale. You'll be like, wait, how does this work? You won't have the context.
I can. Hey, if Disney Plus people can manage without it, I can manage without it too.
They've got it on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
It's there as episode 1 on Disney Plus.
God, that makes it worse.
It works better as a jumping on point than Space Babies. I think that's another thing that feels weird about Space Babies because it's not quite a premiere. And I think it wasn't quite designed that way because it was going to come out in January, wasn't it? Hot off the heels of the Christmas special.
I think, I think it sort of damaged it. I think the May release.
I mean, it's wonderful having Doctor Who around this time of year again, but I don't know if like March.
I think the Easter slot.
Starting it when the series used to start, rather than starting it midway through when the series used to start, so that it will end when they usually end. Maybe that might be the detriment there.
I mean, we'll have to see how when season 2 drops, whether this has sort of been a learning curve for them, because it's still, not to go in the ratings chat, but it's still in like the best performing shows of the week. But I don't think it's getting the same numbers as they
audience there this time of year. Anyway.
But yeah, I think for me, Ncuti's Doctor, I liked what I was seeing, but I think Boom is when I was like, okay, I wanted a bit more sort of stoicism for his Doctor, a bit more authority, and I think Boom delivered that, and I think I'm on board with him because I like the sort of, because I think when I look at 15 and Ruby, I see a lot of 11 and Amy, and I like sort of being reminded of Series 5.
I mean, I love that there's not even been a hint of romance yet. I mean, touch wood. Don't want to count my chickens too soon there, but it does feel like they are just best friends traveling through time and space. They're people.
Oh, you get that in Devil's Court, don't you?
Yeah,
with like that first scene in the TARDIS.
They've just instantly clicked with each other. And they're having such a great time traveling. And I think that's wonderful because even when Russell did it with the Doctor and Donna, there was still sort of like those teasers of it, wasn't there? You had the kiss in Unicorn and the Wasp. Not that that meant anything, but it was there as trailer bait in some ways.
Yeah.
To keep up this odd tradition of the Doctor kissing a companion. You have the "You're not mating with me, sunshine" stuff, and the "Oh, we're so not a couple" lines. While it is brilliantly working on the fact that they are just best friends traveling together, it is nevertheless baked into it that people would assume otherwise, because that's all like what Doctor Who had been seen as up until that point with Rose, and then the unrequited love story with Martha. It's like suddenly Doctor Who had to prove that, oh no, it's not always romance with the companion. Whereas now I suppose we're not quite at that point, and so Russell is able to get away with not having to break away from a trend. It's a trend that's already been broken away from. But yeah, I mean, I think he did once say that he can't imagine writing a Doctor and companion dynamic without there being will they, won't they romance in there somewhere.
I can see
And at
towards the
Donna was just
finale there might be a moment.
I don't know. I mean, has Ncuti shown any interest in any women so far? His doctor, I mean. We've
No,
not really
not
had
really.
any romance at all.
I mean, I think Rogue's when we're gonna get it.
Yeah, I think if it's gonna happen this season, it's gonna be with Rogue the character in Rogue the episode.
I mean, reading the synopsis for it, like it changes the Doctor's life forever. So I'm like, okay, so we're gonna that could be it.
Yeah, not sure about Rogue. It's still hard to judge that one. I suppose because it's new writers as well. I mean, after tonight, we'll have a proper trailer for that episode, even though it's one that's been used in quite a bit of promotional material.
Yeah, I think Rogue's one of the ones I'm least looking forward to.
I think of what we've got left, it's the one I'm least excited for. But at the same time, I don't think there's been a bad episode yet. So, I don't want to again count my chickens too soon, but
yeah,
I don't think that's going to change. I mean, Space Babies would be the closest. I think that's the one that's got the most issues, but even then, I still have a good amount of fun with it.
You see,
and it's mainly Ruby and the Doctor.
Yeah,
that's what it's about.
I think I prefer Space Babies to the Devil's Cord.
Oh,
which I think's a hot take, and
Yeah,
I'll die on that hill. I think Space Babies it gets everything right in the first 10 minutes. It's sort of going, this is what Doctor Who is. I think it does it more than Church on Ruby Road in terms of the mechanics of what it does, really.
I suppose it's more traditional because it's alien threat rather than slightly more supernatural threat, whereas Church Ruby Road is more going with the somewhat new status quo of supernatural elements bleeding into our universe with Doctor Who. I mean, how do you feel about that as a bit of a shift? Because we've not quite had much traditional Doctor versus... I mean, no alien invasion.
No, unless that's a finale.
Yeah. The closest to a traditional Doctor Who story, if one exists.
I mean, Starbase is my favourite RTD2 episode, so maybe I'm the bad person to judge.
Starbase getting a lot of hate, but I don't think it's deserved. It's my favourite.
No, it's the one I've rewatched the most of RTD2.
I mean, it does have a bit of an advantage given that came out first. It's more time to.
But even still,
I mean, I've lost track of how many times I've rewatched Starbase.
It's become a comfort episode, that one has.
Yeah, it's got that same energy as Partners in Crime. It's just wonderful. Yeah, same with Giggle. I think that's a good comfort. Stick on, have fun, watch. Wild Blue Yonder, it's the one I've touched the least from the special.
You have to be in the headspace for it. Yeah. Because it's a particular type of Doctor Who. And I've seen a lot of people say, why can't we get more of this every week? And like that kind of dilutes why Wild Blue Yonder is so special.
I mean, in a way, we have been getting more of that because it was something different and new and experimental. And that's what we've been getting with a lot of these episodes.
Like I mean, it opened up this supernatural, didn't it, with the salt?
Yeah. I mean, it's funny how that's all stemming from that one little incident, really. But it's nice to have a reason for the change of status quo, I suppose, and for it to be the Doctor's fault is rather amusing.
I mean, I like the idea of having this sort of supernatural elements to it. I think that works quite well, and I think it's been great that we're getting more of it. Like Devil's Cord, and I think 73 Yards, really.
Yeah, because Doctor Who's kind of been doing it for ages anyway.
Yeah.
Just disguising it under sci-fi technobabble, really, a lot of the time. And I think that's one of the things that's brilliant about 73 Yards is that, especially because it's not got the Doctor there to explain it away, you have that wonderful line from Kate about how we see something inexplicable and make up the rules to make it work. Yeah, and I think that works very much in 73 Yards' favour in that it doesn't all have to be explained. You don't have to take it all literally. you can read into the meaning of it much more.
But we Doctor Who fans, we like to have answers. We like closure, so we can put it in a list and go, "That's there."
Yeah, it's one that can't easily be written up in a TARDIS wiki page.
No.
I think it's brilliant that it's breaking that mold, and again, it's pushing the bar out, experimenting a lot more.
It'd be an interesting target book.
Yeah, and I mean, it's been compared to Turn Left a lot for obvious reasons. It's companion solo story, Doctor Light, where they're sort of living a life without the Doctor. Obviously, in Donna's case, she'd never even met him. Whereas for Ruby, she's had that time and suddenly he's gone and she has to carry on without him. So that I think even though there are obvious comparisons there, it's not just a Turn Left remake. There is a lot different here. You got some Curse of Clyde Langer mixed in there as well, with everyone turning on her after speaking to the woman. But yeah, I think if you, for some reason, just had some weird technobabbly explanation as to why all this has happened and got all the answers, it would have just harmed the episode, I feel.
Yes.
Like, it would have slowed it down. You get so caught up in the emotion towards the end that I think it would have taken away from a lot there. I think it works perfectly the way it is. And there's enough substance in there for you to piece things together in your own way. Like Kate said, you see something inexplicable, you make up the rules to make it work. That's what Doctor Who fans are being encouraged to do with this episode.
Yeah, because we like to be spoon-fed. We like to have all our eggs in one basket and go, that's that episode.
Yeah, it's defying the rigid classification of a Doctor Who story, and I loved it so much for that. It worked very well with the Midnight Drop as well.
I think it's the best one. What has worked at the Midnight Drop.
I can honestly say it's the first time since The Doctor's Wife that I've actually been scared of a Doctor Who episode.
Really? Is it that ending?
Yeah, the ending when the woman's finally coming closer after you're getting so used to her being 73 yards away. I mean, certainly I felt my heart beating a little bit faster in those early scenes where Ruby's walking away from the TARDIS and then she's there along the cliff still following her.
Oh, it's beautiful.
And I had that typical horror movie moment of, no, don't do it, don't go near her, when Susan Twist hikes up to the woman and talks to her, like, something's going to go wrong there. But
go on.
I didn't quite see the whole turning away and running. I thought it was going to be something a bit more like, the woman somehow kills her, or she...
Or like become like dust, or... Yeah.
So that, but actually it gets more and more horrifying as it goes along, because it's very personal to Ruby, and that the woman's making these people turn against her, not want anything to do with her, especially when it's her own mother as well. And you've had that build up to it. Yeah, it hits that much harder. I saw someone say, oh, maybe the Doctor should have been the first person to go up to the woman, then he leaves in the TARDIS.
Yeah, that would have been good.
And I could see the logic of that. I don't know, it certainly would have hit hard, but I think it works better that you have that build-up of it being strangers at first than her mother. I think if you go straight for the Doctor, it wouldn't have worked. And also, he's the one who trespassed as well. Like, they're both being forced to do some sort of penitence for their trespass. She looked at the notes. He stepped on and broke the circle. And so I think it works that he just disappears there and then. And again, it's not quite explained. We don't know quite why. Maybe he was just having a very long pee around the back. Maybe he fell off the cliff.
That's a big finish story right there.
But 73 yards, chef's kiss. I just came away from that one feeling, I don't know what, just feeling, really.
I knew I liked it, but I couldn't put my finger on why I liked it until I rewatched it going, this is when it hits really well. Because I think...
knew it was something special.
I think if it stayed in the pub, it would have probably been a lot stronger, I feel, and maybe done like a midnight version, but in a pub.
I don't. I like that you get that moment though. You get that build up, and then you have the whole. I mean, again, that was another bit of a intense moment when you got the knocking on the door
of the pasties.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
again, that's all like that's more you wanting your bread and butter Doctor Who.
yeah,
But then suddenly you're thrown out of your comfort zone where Ruby's on the train going home, and then the woman's still following there. And I think you need that following to take place elsewhere as well to show that it's not just this land. This is Ruby's life now. And despite it being a story that goes to quite a few different locations, again, taking place over many, many years, you
How
still
do you
feel
feel?
very trapped by it.
How do you feel about the time jumps?
I think they were done really well. Maybe it's relatable. It feels like our lives are just flashing before our eyes.
Yeah, like we said before we started, like this year, what a weird year it's been.
I mean, yeah, it's but someone out on Twitter I saw noticed that Ruby has less and less cards each birthday.
That's very accurate.
Yeah, it's accurate, but it's also quite sad.
Yeah.
I think. How do you feel they did the aging up makeup?
They didn't much, did they? It wasn't like
It wasn't anything like that. It was very.
It was just like faint. It was like very subtle, wasn't it? Like the faint lines on like the forehead. But you know, people age differently. It's not like you're gonna get your Clara or your Amy Pond makeup in like The Girl Who Waited or Last Christmas.
Yeah, I think it's completely fine. And also, I think people do forget how people age.
Yeah.
Right. And she definitely feels older in him, not just in the look, but also in the performance. I mean, amazing performance from Millie Gibson as well for a first time playing the character of Ruby G. This was the first episode they filmed. Yeah, it's very much throwing her in the deep end kind of episode, and she excelled with it. Truly wonderful. Yeah, I mean, going back to what I was saying earlier about feeling with this episode, I think a lot of Doctor Who stories more not tell you what to think, but they're there to make you think. This one I feel is there more to make you feel.
Yeah, I see that.
But I mean, think as well.
I think this one's been the one where you've really had to sit down and go away and process it.
Yeah, which is nice. It's nice to think like that out there. I mean, shall we talk about a different episode? Because otherwise it's going to be a 73-yard stream. And it deserves it. It's a wonderful episode.
I mean, I think it's probably my favourite of the bunch, which is wild because I don't like Dr. Light stories.
It really worked for me. I mean, Ncuti's wonderful in it for the time we get.
Yeah.
In a brilliant costume, I might add.
It's a very good costume.
I mean, I love those moments towards the end where he's teasing Ruby about the woman. I think that's all rather wonderful.
And I like how it sort of incorporates a bit of Ncuti's personality within 73 Yards. That, you know, Ncuti's all into his like horoscopes and that, and you know, he's very respectful of, you know, the fairy circle, which I feel a very Ncuti thing.
Yeah, I can see that. And it's very doctory as well, I think, to just be respectful of these sort of things.
Yeah. I'm just thinking back to Boom.
Yeah.
Gosh.
I mean, but that's not about religion itself. That's about blind faith and people using it as an excuse not to have to think for themselves. Which, I mean, again, you see a lot online as well, where people just go with the dominating thought without actually thinking about and processing why. They're just taking things at face value. Sometimes people take like their favorite influencer or say what they say at face value and have that be what they think and what they feel, rather than looking into these things themselves and seeing why they are the way they are, why people feel the way they do, and making their own mind.
Yeah.
It's that sort of faith that it's calling out rather than just religious faith in general. I mean, again, towards the end, do you have that nice line where he's telling Splice to keep the faith?
Yeah.
Have a look in the chat though, because we still
Yeah, I
we still
mean,
got a bit caught up at 73 yards, and the chat was 73 yards away from us.
I mean,
we knew you were there. We
let
could
us
feel your
know.
presence, but-
Let us know your favorite episode so far. Whether it is 73 yards. Yeah, I'd be interested to know what people are digging this time.
But hello to the stylish one. Thank you for
hello.
Always wonderful to see you there in the chat.
Oh, yeah, good to have you here.
Happy for people enjoying it. This season is crap, says Gregory Vigan. I'm sorry you're feeling that way.
I mean, yeah, I can see why. I mean, I think this is a thing. I think a lot of people probably built Russell returning to be this big thing, and it is a big thing. But I don't think it's the same Doctor Who what we got 15 years ago, and rightly so.
No, I mean, I think that's another strength of Russell returning is that he's not just doing the same thing again. He's been there, done that. He's done all the big heavy hitters like Daleks, Master, Cybermen. So now he's ready to do something new. Whereas when you've got like Chris Chibnall taking over, it did feel like after season or series 11, we were going back to the greatest hits once again and doing stuff that had already been done. Because it's, he's wanting to leave his mark on those things. You come to Doctor Who, you think, well, I've got to do the Master, haven't I? I've got to have my own imprint of my vision on that character. Same with Moffat. He did the Master too. Russell's here. He's already done the Master before. And I mean, maybe we'll get the Master again at some point. But for now, I do think there is a freshness to what he's doing because, he's coming back with all these new ideas. He's adding that more supernatural element to distinguish it, not just from his own era, but eras before as well. But at the same time, he's not forgetting those eras. Like, we've still got the Timeless Child arc still playing a part in it, perhaps even more so than it did in the Chibnall era, with both the Doctor and Ruby being orphans.
Do you think that was like the main basis
or not orphans,
for Russell?
Sorry, foundlings. Orphans is when the parents are passed on. Answer, yeah. Terminology, foundlings. Yeah. Sorry, what were you saying?
Do you think that was sort of the main basis for Russell with this new vision? Because it seems quite heavily incorporated.
Yeah. Perhaps. I think that's definitely why Ruby is the way she is. I think if Chris Chibnall hadn't have done the Timeless Child arc and had the Doctor be adopted, then we wouldn't have got a companion adoption storyline. I think, you can very much see the connective tissue there between what Chris Chibnall did and how Russell responded to that. I mean, do you think it would have happened anyway?
I mean, I'm surprised Russell's actually doing the Timeless Child thing.
I mean, I wonder if he will eventually give us any answers there or just leave it as ambiguous.
I think you've got to leave it ambiguous.
I think it's working quite well with it, to be fair.
I think the way he's going, I can just see them, being adopted both by Carla, and that's the end of that plot point. But they're both adopted, and now they're gonna have these travels together.
I mean, he's very much been playing up the Time Lord genocide again as well,
which feels odd.
It does feel a bit like Time War 2 Electric Boogaloo, but it's not something that he's done himself. Like, that was a storyline he inherited. And so I think you kind of got to, when establishing what's going on here with the Doctor being adopted. If you're going to go down that line, you also have to say that the people who adopted him are now all gone.
I mean, I think Doctor Who works better without the Time Lords, to be honest.
I wish we got to do more of them while we had them.
Mm.
So it does feel like we just got hell-bent, really, and then moved on from them, and then suddenly they were gone again. I mean, how about as a Day of the Doctor fan, though? How do you feel? Doesn't that render it all redundant in a way?
No, it's more spiteful, isn't it?
Yeah, I suppose it clears the Doctor of his guilt, though. Still,
Yeah, yeah.
The Master, the one who
did it
Yeah.
again.
I mean, it's nice that you have those moments in the Devil's Court where, you've got a story taking place in the 60s, and you've got that reference to the fact that the first Doctor, and Susan are out there right at that very second. It's that wonderful thing of connecting it all together naturally without it feeling like a, fan service for fan service sake moment.
Well, I think this was the big shock, because you naturally compare how Russell did it back in 2005 and how, I don't want to say reluctant Russell was to reference the past, but how he just stripped it back to, this is what the show is. We're not going to fall into how it was parodied and get rid of those sort of stereotypes. It's interesting that Russell's more on board to do these things now and reference, but maybe that's just it shows how pop culture's changed. How
I mean, you got to remember, we did get Sarah in the second series.
Yeah, I mean, but you had a whole series to sort of get people on board with it, if that makes sense. But yeah,
but then, I mean, as well with the 60th specials, bringing back the 10th Doctor and Donna, that's arguably the equivalent of bringing back Tom Baker for season 1 in a way, or series like that, back in 2005. I mean, because didn't more time pass between, I suppose, 2005 and 2023 than 89 and 2005 when the show came back? I don't know, that's a bit of a false equivalence, actually, because it wasn't until 2008 you got your Tennant and Tate duo. But
yeah.
I mean, still, there is something to be said there for it calling back to the past there.
I mean, it worked. It worked wonders.
Yeah,
because it put Doctor Who back on the map, I would say.
But you could have an attitude of, is it ashamed of its past when it's ignoring it? But I think it's just, like you said, it's different cultural things. I think Doctor Who's in a different position now in the public consciousness that it was back in 2004 when he was making series 1. And I mean, as well, the Doctor is very different at this point. I think that's another wonderful change that Russell has done, because before you had that survivor's guilt from the Time War very much being carried by the Doctor, and so that's why he wasn't talking about his past so much, because it hurt that much. Whereas now you've got a Doctor who has been through this therapy, it seems, and has healed after the 60th specials. And so he's able to talk about some of those more traumatic things, like not knowing whether Susan's around or not, but still hold his head up high. And I think that's one of the wonderful themes of the Devil's Court, because you have it towards the end during the face-off with Maestro, where he's saying, I have lived so long, I loved so much, and I can only smile like this because I have, hurt so much. I felt everything. I've butchered that line, but you know the one I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Ncuti delivers it wonderfully. And I mean, you could see that approach has changed with Russell between writing the Doctor back in RTD1 versus writing him now in RTD2. It's a case of not forgetting, but having been able to heal from that nevertheless. And I think there's a wonderful balance now with the show for it to be able to reference the past while looking to the future.
It's not there for fan service going, hey, you remember that bit, don't you? You remember this.
It's there for the Doctor's character.
Yeah. Because this is totally new. It's the same show we love, but it's a very different iteration, isn't it?
Yeah. And again, it contributes to the alienness of the Doctor that he just so casually says to Ruby, I'm living over there with my granddaughter.
Yeah.
She's, a bit flabbergasted by that, which is a follow-on from some wonderful moments in Space Babies as well.
I mean, the universe is knackered babes, so, it's fine.
Yeah. I mean, that's also a wonderful element of his Doctor, the saying honey and babes thing. I think it's something that
it's a shootyism, isn't it?
About, I would have been like, don't know how I feel about that. But having watched it and seeing him say it, I think he carries it so well.
I mean, we got it in our first little proper preview in like Church and Ruby Road when he's going across the rooftop, doesn't he? Like, oh, why did you do that? He thought, why not, babes? When like you climb the ladder. I think, it's that moment, isn't it? Yeah.
He's modern but still alien.
Yeah.
And again, it feels very Eccleston in that moment with it. Yeah, it's almost like he's calling her a stupid ape without.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, love that moment in Church Ruby Road. Yeah. Sorry, we were engaging with the chat, and then
we just get sidetracked.
Sorry, down there typing away your messages. But Ben, you like Domain of Devoured, and that's Dr. Light, says the stylish one.
I mean, in terms of TV, this is like the first one where I'm like, oh yeah, this is good. This is good.
Oh, stylish one says 73 yards. Oh, said this was about 20 minutes ago. Sorry, stylish one. 73 yards is the 4,722 hours episode of the show. That's an episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I gathered it would be something like that.
A character is trapped on an alien planet for 4,722 hours, believe it or not. That's what. That was sort of like around the time where people saying this is better Doctor Who than Doctor Who's given us. It does very much have a Doctor Who episode vibe, that one. With a Stephen Moffat-esque alien creature there as well. We're supposed to also sort of keeping a distance, perhaps, from the characters. Yeah, it's a good one, that one. Yeah. I said, I can see the similarities there, stylish one. Wild Blue Yonder is just Wheel in Space Part 1 again, and it's good. It's a stylish one. I mean, yeah, perhaps. There's a robot. They are looking robots.
True.
Spaceship. You're onto something there, stylish one.
There you go. I agree with Ben. Space Babies was better. Thank you. Space Babies supremacy. It's not that bad. I think it's a brilliant showcase of Ncuti and Millie, and that's all it needed to be.
Oh yeah, I think they were wonderful in it. I very much placed their strengths. You could tell that they both get along so well off camera as well as in front of it.
I mean, I've been enjoying watching all the like mashup videos they've been doing of like choose your TARDIS team and like Never Have I Ever. Like that, it's been good just to see those two just interact, really. And I think Ncuti has become such a good ambassador for the show. Just that entertainment weekly talking about Doctor Who and obviously his love for Pertwee. So I've naturally got to like the guy. And I adore him.
Yeah. I think it's wonderful seeing that Millie's a fan as well, who grew up on things like Sarah Jane Adventures. So when you think of someone who's a Doctor Who fan in Doctor Who, you think of more of that Peter Capaldi, or I suppose your Stephen Noonans, who grew up with the show, but more grew up on the classic stuff. But now the new series has been around for so long that it's at a point where people have grown up with it. We grew up with it. People younger than us, like Millie, have grown up with it and are now in it. And yeah, that is insane to think. Yeah, that she knows about characters like the Trickster and such.
Is the Trickster back this season? I know even the Small Collection had a wonderful theory that is Russell just remaking Series 5 of Sarah Jane Adventures.
Yeah, from the original Scrap Plans is Ruby the New Sky. I mean, who knows?
I can see it.
You could see the same sort of writing style from the Trickster coming into play with characters like the Toy Maker and Maestro, where they're bound by these rules, because that wasn't necessarily established in the Celestial Toy Maker. Whereas come to the Giggle and the Devil's Chords, these characters are locked in by the rules of the game. They're not allowed to cheat. They have to play fair and such. And that feels very similar to the Trickster, where he has this great power to alter reality, but he needs people's agreements. There are rules that he is bound by and has to follow. And I mean, it could just be a case of coincidence. It's just Russell's style and coming up with these creatures. But yeah, I don't know. Perhaps there is something else in that as well.
I was hyped for Church on Ruby Road after loving the 60 specials and was so disappointed. One of my least favorite specials and made me worry about the new series. I can agree. Church on Ruby Road made me go, God, am I going to stick with this iteration of the show?
No, but you have, because it's.
I have. I mean, it's good, but I don't have the same love I have for the 60 specials. I've not captured that childhood urging for it yet. I'm enjoying it, but I can't say I'm on that level of I need to sit down and rewatch these straight away.
Which episode have you rewatched the most, do you think, of season 1? Russell overall is, or Russell T Davies 2 rather. It's
be Star Beast. It's probably 73 yards. Done that
many?
3 times.
I've done 73 yards 3 times as well. Space Babies I've only done 2. I need to give that one another go.
Yeah.
Devil's Chord I've done 4 now, and Boom I've done 5.
Wow.
I mean, I'm gonna lose track soon.
Yeah, I mean, if you got like a little tally going, that's that one watched again.
Yeah, it's like get a little star sheet out. I like put bronze for 1 watch, silver for 2 watch, gold.
Yeah.
I've just been in the mood for more and more 15th Doctor.
See, I'm excited for the
limited options.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to his new books and the comic. I think that's be exciting to have sort of new expanded media with him.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of 15th Doctor, quickly, isn't it funny to think that we once looked at this man and thought that's the 14th Doctor?
No, I never thought that.
Doesn't feel right.
I never thought that.
You always assume that they would go with Tennant as number 14.
Well, I did a whole video, literally, I think the same week the Star Beast photos launched, and I was like, this is why we're doing it. He's 14.
Yeah, but we did still have a week before that of Ncuti announced as the new Doctor.
Well, they never numbered him. They never numbered him, did they? They just put new Doctor, so I never thought he's 14, because if he was 14, they would have said he's the 14th, wouldn't they? There and then.
See, I thought he could be. I was never 100% sold, but nevertheless, I think people were throwing around 14 as the number when talking about him. And, I was always well, I say always, but, by the time that Ncuti was announced, I was like, yeah, Tennant's coming back. But I assumed he was going to be referred to as something special. It's like, the War Doctor.
The Bridge Doctor, I think, was the thing
thrown around. Yeah, I was assuming it'd be something along those lines. I mean, even right up until the Giggle, people were still holding out hope that oh, when we do the bi-generation thing, he's going to be the actual 14 and Tennant's going to be something else and they'll rename it. But no, he is 15. And yeah, that number feels right now.
See, it's weird. I don't feel like Ncuti's Doctor has a number. He's just the Doctor.
I suppose when you get to a certain point of having that many numbers,
yeah, you just sort of get rid of it.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting. We get like the 26th Doctor or something. Like it's going to be a bit of a mouthful.
Yeah, it becomes a bit sort of parody in a way.
But, I mean, hopefully Ncuti sticks around for a long while yet.
I mean, there was talks he was just going to do the one season, but it seems like he's fallen in love with it. Yeah, it'd be interesting. Hopefully, he breaks the free series thing.
Especially with there only being 8 episodes of series now. I feel like we're fairly safe to get 4 with him because they seem to be doing 2 back-to-back.
Yeah.
So, if that's the schedule again for the next lot, then I think it'd be fairly safe to assume that we'd get him up to season 4 at least. But yeah, certainly, because it's allowing him to still go off and do other things.
I mean, he's doing a play, I think, the end of this year into January when they probably would start filming the show.
Yeah. Sam said, "All right, lads, sorry I can't stop at the pub. Just wanted to see how you're all doing, and I shall watch the stream back tonight."
Oh, nice. Hope you're having a good time in the pub.
I'm currently drinking a rum in honor of you.
Oh, wow.
Well,
that's cool.
I go just down the last of it.
Oh, man.
I say it was like a couple of millimeters at the bottom.
Luke's an alcoholic. Luke's an alcoholic, everyone.
Oh, dear. You should try it. You might enjoy Church from Blue Road a bit more.
No. Your Goblin song can F right off.
Goblin song is a bop.
I mean, I prefer it to... Oh, what is it? There's always a twist. Bloody hell, that's awful. That's horrible.
Right.
No, but the thing is, music's been banned, and that's your first song that plays. You think, crikey, bring the maestro back. I'll take a world without music.
Itsy Bitsy Teeny Weeny.
That's from Tiz Was. That's from Tiz Was. So that's 80s, kids show, isn't it, with Timmy Mallet?
There you go. There's your trivia.
That's your trivia there. But Beatles have got a banger about their dog.
Called Fred. He is alive. He's not dead. I love that.
I'm worried how you know all. Have you remembered this? I'm worried.
I've watched it 4 times. Let's see. I've got a dog. He's called Fred. My dog is alive. He's not dead.
Well, we just got copyrighted.
He loves me too. I have got a cat, only a dog. My dog, my dog, my dog, my dog.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. No.
There's something a bit more, but I can't remember the last one.
You need to rewatch it 5 times to get that last little bit, Luke.
Oh, dear.
Oh, God.
Another bop.
Dear, oh, dear me.
Harry's face is dropping as well when it happens, just like yours just did then.
Oh, God. Speaking of Devil's Chord, Daniel Hager, my favourite episode of the series was the 60s episode, best one so far, as it got the characters so well, and I love 60s music.
Rob, the old mongoose, says, have you guys got the plastic protectors to go around your classic collection box sets? I've been worried about them breaking for a while, but this sorted the problem out. I mean, you certainly do worry sometimes because they do look rather fragile.
Especially when you get like season 2 where you're like, how's that disc tray still in
there's a lot of weight.
And season 20, yeah. I mean, I've not got those yet, but I think I probably will. I don't know which ones to get because obviously they're such varied size, whereas the Steelbook ones are kind of given. steelbooks are one size fits all, aren't they? Whereas the collection sets are very different.
A lot of variety there in the width. And I mean, it has been, 6 years since the collection started?
Mm.
And my early ones are still holding on in there. But I certainly don't begrudge you for playing it safe there, Rob. I think probably a wise decision. You never can be too safe, especially when you think about how much money you spent on the collection overall.
And they're only going up as well, aren't they? I imagine the next one's going to be, 50, 55 quid.
Yeah. Because 15 was 55 quid and that was just 7 discs.
Mm.
Guy Griss says, I liked the anniversary specials and I quite liked Boom, but the other stories left me cold. Hopefully tonight is a bit more my taste. I mean, that is one of the wonderful things about this era so far. It has had a good amount of variety in it.
Mm.
I mean, Space Babies and Devil's Cord, they're different, but they still have a bit of the same flavor to them. Same with Church Ruby Road, of that more zany, fantastical, wild, fast-paced, fun nature. Whereas then you go to Boom and 73 Yards and you get in more darker, serious stories, but both very different from each other.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, hopefully, that means that you're in with more of a chance there. And there's a lot more experimentation going on now.
Which I like. It feels a very early Big Finish.
Yeah, I mean, they had musical episodes as well.
And I don't like them either. That's just my personal preference. I'll just stick to the soundtracks over, Doctor and lyrics, because not my thing.
I haven't had time to rewatch any of them yet, and McCoy was on Tiswas.
There we go. Wow. See, the Tiswas ads. There's a Tiswas fan club out there. I'm sure they're I wonder if it's on a collection set. Actually, I wonder if they've put that on.
I mean, it's got to be at least a couple of clips on it for 24 or 26 when McCoy being interviewed and such, or when it's talking about him being cast as a Doctor.
I mean, season 25 is meant to be the next collection set, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, that's been rumored for a little while.
So,
some news on that soon.
I imagine we're not going to find out while Shooty's on air.
Daniel Hager says, I hope we get a classic monster in this season, but Russell did say that we was not getting any classic monsters in this season, but I keep my fingers crossed for a classic monster. I mean, it looks like we're kind of getting a Macra-inspired monster in the next story. But even more in honor of the Macra Terror than
Gridlock was. Yeah.
These monsters hiding in plain sight and such. And this society that's very upbeat and happy, ignoring the terror that lurks right beside them. That feels.
To be honest, that's a good commentary on life, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true. And again, it's Russell doing brilliantly with that, with the social media commentary. Well, yeah, certainly a lot of terrible things happen in the world, and social media can be a platform to, push awareness of that. But at the same time, it can also push for, redundant activism in a way. This kind of activism that people do where they put something on their Instagram story or Twitter feed just to make themselves feel a bit better.
So they're part of the bubble that they're... Yeah.
Or you sort of feel obligated to do it because you see so many other people doing it. And, you don't want to feel left out. And in some way, it does do good still. Because... it's better than nothing. It is still getting the message out there. But at the same time, sometimes you feel like it's just being done so that, okay, I've done my bit. I can now move on and ignore that again. Which is a shame because for so many people, these events aren't just trends that happen online.
It's not to make you look good. It's real life. Yeah. I think a lot of it's happening on social media right now. I think a lot of people are doing it now.
Anime, yeah, we're talking about all this, so we've not even got the episode dot and bubble yet. So
maybe we're putting too much hope in it.
yeah, we might be overthinking it a bit, but certainly, I mean, this is based off the clips we've got though as well, and like what we've had there. It's just us reading into a possible meaning that Russell might be going for. I imagine with Russell, there's multiple layers and multiple meanings that can be derived from this story. But yeah, sorry, Daniel Hager, you talk about classic monsters there. Yeah, it's kind of wild that we've not had much of that in RTD2 at all, really. Because does the Meep count? Because that's obviously not an original monster.
Yeah, I mean,
Not quite a returning
classic.
one either in Wrath Warriors.
I mean, I guess they're in the pantheon of Doctor Who monsters, aren't they? But they're not ones people know about. And I think that's why they work so well.
And like, Toymaker is certainly a more obscure one, but that is the most definite. This is a returning threat. No ambiguity there. Maestro, while new, is part of that pantheon connected to the Toymaker, and so there's still like a connection there, a through line back to Classic Who. Yeah, as for the rest, I mean, we don't know what's coming in for the finale. As we know, Russell does lie sometimes.
Yeah.
To build up hype and stuff. Sometimes he lies through his teeth, knowing that we know he's lying, and he's just having a bit of fun, and we're having a bit of fun listening to him, a bit of fun. But yeah, I've not seen the quote of him saying there's no classic monsters.
I mean, I remember there being talks of like 7th Doctor, 4th Doctor thing, like related to that.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I mean, he certainly teased the Pantheon will feature characters that we know from before. He sort of said, think about what characters could be godlike creatures, because they may be coming back. So we'll see how that plays out by the finale, unless that's something to come in season 2. Is the Pantheon plot line going to be ongoing for quite a while? Is it connected to who the boss is of the Meep?
I mean, we've got the Harbinger thing in season 2.
Yeah. Harbinger.
Yeah, Harbinger, that's it.
Yeah, there's a lot of leaks through set photos. And I mean, that's also at the end of Devil's Cord. That's the twist at the end, as he's like, watching all the dancing and disappears behind that door. I mean, Russell has also said that Maestro would be a great villain to bring back. I mean, could we know with RTD1 that he sometimes likes to do sequel episodes? Like you've got your End of the World, New Earth, and Gridlock. You've got that trilogy there across multiple series. Could we have something like this in RTD2 as well? Especially with how far in advance they're able to plan and film these things now.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Yeah, we could see Jinxman. I mean, I wouldn't be against having the Maestro back.
I think so. It'd be interesting to see how different a kind of story we can get with that character. Like, what other potential is there beyond the plot that we saw in The Devil's Cord?
Yeah, unless it's just I'm gonna steal an American band this time, like Buddy Holly or something. I don't know.
I don't know, because Maestro didn't seem that interested in a specific band even.
Well, maybe you Shakespeare code it.
Yeah, it could do.
Creates like a devil musician.
I mean, again, that's another example of Russell, or well, not quite Russell, but Russell T Davies, who, having things basically be magic, but just having a quick bit of sci-fi technobabble there to explain it away.
Yeah,
that's now no longer quite needed. Because there's not really too much difference between the Witcher / Carrionites in that and the goblins, other than the fact that they're now literal goblins versus they're just witches under a sci-fi name.
Yeah.
I mean, it all comes back to that line that Tennant says in The Giggle, where he said about, the toy maker when Hebe asks how he's able to do all this stuff. He says, if I told you like he alters matter through sheer willpower or something along those lines, isn't it? And he's like, but he doesn't do that. I think that's a wonderful summary of what Doctor Who's doing now. But anyway, Stylish Runner says, this series has been a mixed bag. I don't have any strong feelings towards any episode. I've also been busy and got another interest, so haven't kept up with the news, engaged with other fans, or even watched the episodes until later. It's the most I felt disconnected from Doctor Who. It's better than the Whittaker era, that made me feel disappointed. It's comparable to what you, Luke, and Ben said you felt during the Capaldi era. I think might just be me, actually. I think you were mostly fine during the Capaldi era.
I think Series 9. But I think the Series 11 made me go, oh.
Yeah.
I'm not in this as much as I was.
It's like we kept an open mind. We were hopeful, but it wasn't.
I mean, it did get better a little bit towards the end. I loved Flux.
It had its moments.
And then the specials were just a bit...
I liked Power of the Doctor. That's what I could say.
I don't like Power of the Doctor. That's me.
I have other interests and things to do, and while I like Doctor Who, not as much as I used to. That's a shame to hear, Stylish One. But yeah, I mean, sometimes, things do just come and go, and life does get in the way. It's ultimately, as much as we make a big deal about it, it is just a TV show, really, isn't it?
I mean, the wonderful thing is, it's always gonna be there. You can go off and do all these things, but you can always come back and revisit it. Like, it's not going anywhere. It's still gonna be on your shelf or on iPlayer or whatever,
Yeah, exactly. And hopefully it does click with you again at some point, either during Ncuti's era or beyond.
That's a beautiful thing. There's 60 years to explore. What the expanded media, we're so lucky with how much stuff we get for it, but we're never starved of content. There's always a little bit of Doctor Who for everyone out there,
Guy says, oh no, I think we should leave the Maestro for the moment. That might be a bit much. I can see that with there being less episodes a season as well. Like if we were getting 13 a year, which I think certainly just not possible for them to do at this point in time. But yeah, one episode of that being taken up by Maestro probably wouldn't be as bad, doing that sequel. But when it's only 8 episodes a season, that's when you're in a bit more of a headspace of, would we really want this slot taken up by a returning monster, or do we want something new there instead?
I feel like it would only water down the initial impact.
I suppose, or do you have more of the Pantheon come back, like the Toymaker and Maestro, together towards the end as this arc continues? Could you have the Doctor in a begrudging alliance with Maestro and the Toymaker to defeat the One Who Waits, or something along those lines? Or, even just brought back for information, for a chat about the One Who Waits, something like that.
Yeah.
There's certainly more options rather than just have them come back, be the villain of the week, and go away again.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. Guy Gristle says, I quite liked the Whittaker years. Like we say, there's
Doctor Who for everyone.
And they're always there to go back and rewatch as well.
Yeah. And, reappraise, reevaluate. We might go back and rewatch Whittaker and be like, you know what? I see the genius and the vision.
I mean, so a lot of people did that for Moffat during the Whittaker years. So.
I mean, we've not really spoke about Boom. We sort of avoided it.
Well, we didn't want to step on that landmine, did we?
That's true. We've been sort of
Watch it well
teetering around it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Boom. I think it's probably second favorite. It's the most Doctor Who episode of the season.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed it. As evident by the fact I watched it 5 times. It's one that I think is very strong. Ncuti gives a terrific performance in it.
Mm.
And I think it's interesting how you say it's the most Doctor Who episode, but at the same time, it's very different in that, it is all in that one place. It's Moffat's answer to Midnight in many ways, isn't it?
Yeah.
With it being something a bit more experimental. Again, it's not really monster-based, but is instead about the Lengard algorithm. I mean, how did you feel about all those Moffat references to his era?
Oh, I loved it.
I like how it's very much creating a Moffat universe in a way. If it is like, the Anglican Marines coming back. You got the Villengard Corporation. You got more AI afterlife. It's all very Moffat stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, even the way the Doctor's written as well is a bit more Moffat. I mean, there was that line of I'll turn this silly little battlefield into dust from the trailer. That didn't quite do it for me in the trailer. It felt a bit like, Doctor posturing.
Yeah.
I didn't take it literally, funnily enough. It's like the opposite of 73 yards, whereas this is something that's actually literal in the story, because the way the bomb works is that it, turns the person standing on it into an explosive, which I think is a wonderful twist to continue to build the tension, because suddenly it's not just the Doctor who's in danger. It's now that whole planet, or at least half the planet.
Yeah.
The half that's got people living on it. So, not great. But yeah, I think it's a wonderful display of just continuing to rack up the tension.
Yeah, it's a wonderful little chamber piece, isn't it? Really, and it's almost feels like you could do it as a stage play. It would be a brilliant play, like in the round, especially.
It feels very much designed that way. You got, I think in Doctor Who Unleashed, I said it's like 84 seconds on that military base set. And so almost all the rest is set in the wasteland in that little crater. I mean, there's certainly some Genesis of the Daleks going on in there with that.
But when's Moffat never taken anything from Genesis,
Yeah, he's always pilfering things from there. I mean, fair play. If you're gonna steal from the best. And
I mean, he is the best now because of Heaven Sent. So is he gonna
to then extrapolate that into a full episode?
Yeah,
it's brilliant stuff. How it leaves you on the edge of your seat throughout it. How things go from bad to worse to even worse. That feels rather Terry Nation, actually. You're out of the frying pan into the fire ad infinitum. With how it continues to get worse and worse. How characters get sort of thrown into it as well to keep things fresh. Yeah.
What did you think of the surprise guest character?
Our new companion, but not playing
Andor Aldani mission.
Yeah, Vara de Sifu. Yeah, she was very strong. I didn't actually recognize. I thought, is that her? But
I had to stop and Google the cast list, but the cast list wasn't out the time I googled it at midnight.
I just kept going and then watched Boom, the Unleashed for Boom. I was like, it was her. Because it was had that whole feature on there that I chatted to her about it. Yeah, I think she was rather brilliant in it, and certainly had that chemistry with Ncuti. You sort of wonder if, they saw that there and thought, oh, maybe she would make a good actor for the new companion.
They did like a Tom Baker. He gets on with her.
Yeah. Was it Tom Baker? Oh yeah, Lala Ward.
Yeah.
I was thinking more William Hartnell you get as well, don't you?
Yeah.
With Peter Purvis. Yeah, I could certainly see her doing very well, and it'll be nice to have a different kind of trio as well. Hopefully. Yeah. What about you? What did you think?
I thought it was a nice little surprise, nice little character. He's got a nice sort of playful energy within the story because you need it in that story.
Yeah, you need a bit of light relief, but at the same time, she's not just there for comic relief. She's just very real, I feel.
Yeah.
Which isn't always Moffat's strength. I suppose you sort of feel like with Splice at times that she doesn't quite feel real. Sometimes feels a bit more like a 6-year-old
hologram
writing, but being played by I don't know quite how old the actress is, but I'm gonna say around 12. I don't know, maybe 11. It feels like the character's written younger than it is actually played. But at the same time, I feel like that kind of works for the story because she is this Marie or
probably less developed
Anglican character who would be a bit more sheltered, feels a bit almost raised by a cult in this case, and so perhaps would speak rather differently. Yeah, so I feel like it works in this case, especially when she's not around any other children. Yeah. I didn't really mind the character of Splice. I know that was one of the people's main negatives to take away from Boom, but I thought for the most part she worked really well. The only part that didn't is it feels like there's almost false tension being created when she has that little scrap with Ruby.
Yeah.
That felt a bit too forced, but all the other instances of the tension being racked up, I think worked very well. They felt natural. It's just that one that felt a bit like that didn't really work. And also I felt like it was filmed a bit strange as well.
Probably how it was edited, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, there's another weird line as well towards the end where Ruby says, I think he needs changing about the Doctor when he's shooting off.
Yeah,
that felt much more Clara. Again, it's going into that carer angle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like this is my least favorite episode for Ruby, but at the same time, it doesn't really matter too much because she's unconscious for the latter half.
Yeah, she's not doing much in it.
It's much more the Doctor. Yeah, and I think Moffat writes the Doctor very well. It's the best.
Well, Moffat gets Doctor, doesn't he?
Yeah, but when Ruby is written by Russell, that is when she is far superior in my mind. Maybe it's just something about Moffat and women. But then again, Mundy was fine.
Yeah.
Who knows? There's always an exception. I mean, she felt quite a lot like Journey Blue.
Yeah, I see that.
Or was that character written by Moffat though? Or was
that was Stephen Moffat, Phil Ford, wasn't it? Yeah, I imagine Moffat wrote the Danny Pink stuff.
Yeah, we sort of assume, but you never know for sure with that.
I guess that's the first half of season 1, isn't it?
Covered. One says, if the Master comes back, Ian the Case-Sticker would be a great choice. Yes, I think how he played, funnily enough, the Doctor in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Yes, 100%. I can see that. He is a Scottish actor as well, not an American one, and he does. Yeah, he would be wonderful. I'll try and get Ben to watch like some clips so he knows what we're talking about. Stylish one, but I'm on board with that. The Master recast will happen one day, but he will be back. But is it too soon for the Master to return? And is it time for the Monk to return? Says Daniel Hager. I'm down for the Monk to come back. People are wondering, is that the Susan Twist character? Is that the next door neighbor character, Mrs. Flood?
Yeah.
I mean, Where do you think the Susan Twist stuff is going? That's one of the many mysteries we have at the moment.
I think we're going to get a human TARDIS or something like that, or it's Susan trying to find the Doctor, split herself in like time, and sort of made herself go a bit doolally in the process.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like maybe it's going to be more an original villain who meets a similar fate to the Clara Splinter.
Yeah.
Something like that, where she's just praying through time. Unless she is actually following the Doctor and Ruby around through time. Okay. I mean, certainly we got that first hint that they're seeing a trend there when Ruby says, "Don't I know you?" to the hiker Susan Twist character. So that shows that they are at least noticing these similar faces. I mean, half the time they don't see the face.
No, well, they saw her like the tea lady, didn't they? But I guess Ncuti had his back to her more than anything.
I think it's brilliant as well that I wonder how many casual audience members and those who aren't terminally online and seeing people pointing it out all the time notice these characters as Susan Twist. Because certainly I feel like she's well disguised each time.
She does a really good job, yeah.
Yeah, like putting on different accents and stuff, having completely different costumes and makeup, wigs and things. I think, they do all work together very well to do a complete transformation. But it still ends up being the same character. I mean, the fact that she's playing both cameo roles and quite prominent roles, like the ambulance, being the Filling Guard algorithm, that's quite a key role in that episode. That's not just a quick hiker throwaway cameo or tea lady. That is something with a bit more substance. I wonder how many of these are intentionally written as well, as like, oh, this is going to be your Susan Twist character cameo, and how many of them are just, right, we're going to put her in this episode somewhere, that character will do.
I wonder if it's just to throw us off the scent. There's nothing there. It's just we just got the same actor in.
Yeah, I mean, he did say tongue-in-cheekly that they were running out of actors' equity, so they just kept using her. But at the same time, you got Colin Baker playing Max Hill and then coming back as a Doctor. Obviously, Peter Capaldi carrying on as well. Sometimes characters do just look like other characters because the same actress played them, but there's no actual in-universe reason as to why. Could this just be a case of that turned up to the extreme because it keeps happening? Is that but given that Ruby has now said, "Don't I know you from somewhere?" It makes you think, no, there's something.
But is that real? Is that real? Because it's just got a sort of dream logic to it. Yeah.
Who knows? I mean, there certainly are a whole lot of mysteries still to be untangled at the moment, and it'd be interesting to know whether or not they all do come at the end of season 1 or not, or if some are being left there for season 2.
I think there's got to be some left over because I think there's so much going on right now.
I mean, Russell said that Ruby's arc is very much been planned as a 2-season arc. But I feel like we'll get some answers halfway through. I mean, you got an episode called The Legend of Ruby Sunday, which it's funny looking at that finale, thinking we've actually got quite a bit of footage for that. Like, that's quite prominent in the trailers. We know quite a lot about the characters that are going to appear. We know we've got Unit there. You've got Mel. You've got Lenny Rush's character. You've got Rose Noble back as well. So we know quite a few things like that are going on. But at the same time, we know absolutely nothing about the plot. Like, the Doctor heads to Unit Tower, something's going on.
Something's in the vault.
In the vault. And that's about it, really. Like, it's very vague. But, which is wild to not really know much at all about this finale, despite seeing a fair amount from it.
I mean, what? A couple of weeks' time, we'll get glimpses of it.
Yeah. I mean, we've known for a while about things like the slug creatures,
I think those were the first things
Yeah.
to see, really, weren't they?
Yeah, on location search. We know about stepping on the bomb from the trailer. Definitely know about Maestro that they were
Officially
heavily
announced.
involved. Yeah. Jinx Monsoon was one of the first guest stars they announced, and then the Bogeyman was kind of prominent there. But yeah, when you look at the finale, very little there.
It's exciting. So maybe we all get our classic stuff in the end. So it's lovely to be theorizing about these things. That's the side I like about this season in particular.
Yeah, because I feel like there wasn't as much meat to get into for a long while. I think the last time you had something quite like this was probably the hybrid arc.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Because I mean, series 10. Well, you had the Vault mystery.
You knew who the Vault
Yeah,
who
I
was
mean,
in
it was
there.
fairly obvious, and it's just a one single mystery, really, isn't it?
Yeah,
And it's very clear it's a who is in this place. Whereas now we've got multiple different kinds of mysteries. I mean, a lot of them are who are this character, but yeah, we have no idea why it snows when Ruby thinks about her birth mother. Also, is it thinking about it? Is it talking about it? What exactly is causing that? Because it seems like it's not something that happened before she met the Doctor or before the Doctor went back in time. And again, that memory changed with the woman.
Yeah.
Pointing. What's with that? Yeah, like that's stuff that I wasn't expected to come along quite so quickly.
Yeah, that was the thing. What amazed me of how quickly we were diving into that in Space Babies.
Yeah, how much that was posing that question. Yeah. But I guess it works with the adoption storyline of that episode.
Yeah.
Right. And then you sort of got another Moffat style thing at the end of the Doctor scanning Ruby.
Right.
Yeah, there are certainly a few intriguing mysteries to be theorized over there. I believe we are finding out who the boss is by the end of this season. I think that was said on the commentary video in Vision commentary for the Star Beast, wasn't it?
Yeah. Maybe it actually is the boss from Green Death then, and just
that's what's lurking in the vault.
It makes sense.
Yeah, I feel like it'll be a more supernatural threat for the finale, though.
Yeah,
I think that's what we're building up to. And I'm sure we'll get back to more standard Doctor Who sci-fi monsters eventually. I'm sure there's no way Ncuti's not going to get an encounter with the Daleks sooner or later. Is that something that would have leaked today?
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be. I don't know if it would be season 2 then.
Right.
But we don't know that much about season 2 as well, which is another thing, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, Russell's certainly been saying about how he's quite happy that some location filming has gone unnoticed. Yeah, Scarfer says, I've never been so in the dark about a series finale. We've got people speculating for Susan, the Saxon Master, the Trickster, the Schalke Doctor, Sutek, Zagreus. Yeah, it's weird how we've seen quite a bit, but
so
no
much.
little. Yeah.
It's amazing how like the theory changes each week. Like, yeah, we're gonna put a hat on this one now. It's great.
Yeah, it was Sutek for a while, then it was a Trickster. Oh, goodness knows who it is now.
No, I just have to wait and see, and hopefully it's worth the payoff because the fan theories are so good as well.
Yeah, I think it's all going to come down to the execution of it all, really.
And that's Russell's downside, isn't it? Really.
So, I'd say less execution, more finale.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Resolution.
Yeah.
I was like, he can bring along
He can
something
build it.
brilliant, do some great stuff with it for a while, and then he has to put his toys back in the box, and it all gets thrown in a bit messily rather than tied away nicely. But yeah, I've not really had many problems with the endings of a lot of these episodes. Like I said, only really Space Babies feels a bit off.
Yeah, just leaving babies to hurtle towards a planet.
Ooh. I don't know, not just that, but with the bogeyman, the sudden twist there of like trying to run away from it this whole episode, then suddenly saving it because you got to have a bit of jeopardy at the end there. Well, I think it's right that they save it, especially when you're flashing back to those moments of the Doctor telling Poppy about there's no one in the universe quite like me, I'm unique, and him realizing that this bogeyman creature is also the only one of its kind. But yeah, it just feels a bit forced to have an exciting climax to the story rather than it being a natural progression of everything that come up until that point. Yeah. All right, out of 10, what would you give each episode if you have to place an arbitrary number on them?
I'd say Space Babies 7.
Yeah,
Devil's Cord 6.
I'd probably go 8 for Devil's Cord.
Boom, I'd go 8. 8, honestly, yeah, 8.
I don't know, I'd go 9 for Boom.
Okay, and then I'd give 73 Yards probably an 8.5.
I'd go 9.5.
Oh wow, gosh,
Ooh.
you really are loving it.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just a recency thing there though. But yeah, I think it's incredibly strong. Look, what's your favorite episode of Death in Paradise, and why is it Davidson's said stylish one?
Big Davo.
Oh. I, on a serious note, I have no clue what my favorite episode is because there's a lot of strong ones, and also it's a different kind of show. Like a lot of not to say they're forgettable, but because it's not got that same variety that Doctor Who has, it's easier for them to blur together a bit more. Yeah. Whereas with something like Doctor Who, where it's very easy to identify which one's which. Yeah, so there's more standouts, so it's easier to identify a favorite and have a mood for a particular episode.
I mean, what episode are you looking forward to the most out of the 4 that are left?
Probably, I'd say both the finale episodes.
It's got to be, isn't it?
It's hard to say one or the other of those two because we know so little about either.
I mean, I just want to know what this reaction thing is. You know, is it Sean Pertwee?
I think it's going to be one of those things that is still very strong for what it is, but it's nothing compared to what the fandom's hyping up to be.
Yeah.
And I think rightly so. Like, there's no reason to throw Sean Pertwee in there just for the sake of it.
I mean, it'd be cool.
Yeah, but would it have the substance to it?
I mean, it's interesting that it was not going to be in it, then it was going to be in it, now it is in it. So it's an interesting history, and it'd be great to figure out what it actually is.
I've been just counting the number of scenes. What is it, 27B?
Yeah, 27B. So
yeah, so you got to be counting the scenes as you go through them.
Uh-huh.
Aside from us, are you going to the cinema to watch the episodes? Probably not. I think that you have work the next day. So
I've got work, so getting in at 2:00 in the morning and getting up at about 6 probably ain't a good idea.
How about you, Stylish One, or anyone else in the chat right now? Are you going to be going to the cinema to watch the episodes? But yeah, I probably won't either. I think I'm comfy just having my midnight watch at home.
Have your own little snacks. Have your own little watch party.
Go straight to bed afterwards. I'm tired.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, on Bubble, we looking forward to that.
I'm looking forward to it. Got just over 2 hours to go now.
Hmm.
Oh, first one says, yes, I've got my tickets. I love Day of the Doctor in cinemas and all the fans dressed up and cheering. Oh, hope you enjoy.
Yeah, I hope there is a moment like Day of the Doctor where you do get that cheer.
I mean, Russell seems to think there will be. He's getting people to film their reactions. Daniel Hager says, I'm going to the cinema.
Oh, nice. It's good.
Enjoy
Good
that
to see
film.
people going. Good to see people are actually going.
Yeah. Oh, Stars from us of the companions with multiple doctors: Polly, Ben, Sarah Jane Adric, Nissa, Tegan, Perry, Mel, Charlie, Rose, and Clara. Which works best with each doctor? Ben and Polly second?
It's got to be, isn't it?
Yeah. Sarah Jane. I think I said it with Stephen as well. I think the character of Sarah Jane works best with the third Doctor,
Yes.
but Elizabeth Sladen works best with Tom.
Yeah, I agree with that completely.
Yeah. Adric, fifth Doctor.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I do like the Starkeeper Traken. You do get an idea of what these two could be, but yeah, I can't see it going any further than that, really.
It was good for what it was.
Mm.
It wouldn't have had the legs for going for longer. He was very much there to transition to the next Doctor. Nissa, again, I think fifth. Same with Tegan. Like that's sort of like a second Doctor Jamie style combo, isn't it? Fifth Doctor.
Yeah.
They're just always together. And I think those ones as well, with how late into fourth Doctor they came in, you can't really imagine them with Tom. Perry, six.
Yeah, it has to be. It has to be, isn't it?
For TV, Perry and six, particularly when you get to like Trial and how well they're getting along there at the start of Mysterious Planet. And all over Big Finish as well. They've been great. Mel, though, this is an interesting one.
I'd say Colin.
Yeah.
Maybe because I just don't like season 24 that much.
I do feel like she works well with both. Yeah. Yeah, maybe I'm leaning more towards Colin.
I think I'm going off TV stuff. What would I rather have, another season with Colin, or would I have another season with her and McCoy? And I think I'd go Colin.
Yeah, but would the other season with her and McCoy go more in the 25 direction?
Yeah.
I mean, certainly when you look at Big Finish as well, like We Are the Daleks and such.
Yeah.
Right. Charlie, I think eighth Doctor.
Yeah, he's got it easy, Charlie. Rose is easy, 9.
Yeah. And Clara, 12, I'd say.
See, 12 for me, I'd say it's got to be Bill and Nardole, my favourite 12.
Yeah, but at the same time, 11th Doctor, it's got to be Amy and Rory.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know about that because, like, Series 7, Clara was made. Her character was made for what the story needed to be. So yeah, it's got to be Capaldi, isn't it?
Yeah. I'd say Victorian Clara at 11.
Victorian, yeah. If it's Victorian Clara,
we could cheat.
100%. Yeah, 100% 11, easy.
Scarf says there's objectively a wrong choice here. 11/Clara.
If it's Victorian Clara,
yeah, we cheated there.
It's not a wrong choice. It's a good choice.
Sarge one agrees. Victorian Clara was the best Clara.
It is best Clara, best Splinter.
Oh. Tom Curley says, I'm booked into my local cinemas. Can't wait. Wonderful.
Good.
the fact that the scene in the finale was easily dropped only helps that it might be Sean Pertwee because they find something in relation or key to the Pertwee-related discovery in the vault. So Shaw's could be a flashback to give context to what they find. Yeah, maybe. Or would they just do... Could we be seeing it on a flashback like we had in The Giggle?
Yeah.
The first Doctor. And could it be...
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Pertwee himself for a little bit? Especially if it is something related to the Pertwee era. Yeah, because they did that very well, the way they incorporated those little scenes, colorized scenes as well.
Have you seen any more about that Australian missing episode find that they're going to reveal some of the stuff soon?
Oh, is that the Film is Fabulous?
Yeah. So could you imagine before the Toy Makers released, we get the actual episodes?
That would be bad.
Like, I don't want this animation anymore.
I mean, I think they did categorically say that there's no Doctor Who in the first batch. I don't know whether they're referring to all of it or not. I'm still going through it all. It's like, the clown in you wants to hope.
You're always going to be like, Doctor Who?
You always sort of feel bad for other missing episodes.
Like, we're the only show that's got missing stuff.
Yeah. Like, they must get so annoyed with Doctor Who fans popping up. I mean, like, being disappointed when they announce other interesting finds. And they're just there wanting to talk about their Morecambe and Wise or whatever. And, rightly so. And then you've got Doctor Who fans all throughout the comments going, why isn't there any Doctor Who? Let's get
Try harder.
I do feel sorry.
You're mistaken. You must check the archives again.
Perhaps the archives are incomplete. Yeah, that must be unfortunate where every win for them is seen as a disappointment by Doctor Who fans. But at the same time, they probably wouldn't mind seeing a Doctor Who episode back.
Because it would shut us up going, hey, you got it.
Yeah. Oh, it wouldn't, though, would it? We'd be...
No, but like, anymore.
The Omni Rumour was still going after Web of Fear and Enemy of the World were announced. You had that fake Marco Polo cover going around.
That's sad.
Yeah, over 10 years now.
That's wild to think about.
There was a discovery after Enemy and Web. It was just already existing episodes of Dominators, Crotons, and Seeds.
I wonder if they were better quality, maybe.
Yeah, could that be good news for the Season 6 Blu-ray? Yeah, I do remember about that. I mean, that was pretty early on. Was that 2015, maybe, Stylish One?
I have no memory of this. I'd never heard of it.
Daniel Hager says, do you know which missing episode it will be? No clue, and it's not necessarily a Doctor Who episode. It might not even be something that's missing. It's a private film collector's stash of loads of different things they've accumulated over the years, and so it's being sorted through to determine and catalogue it all. But we don't know what could be in there. It's very unlikely that any Doctor Who is in there, but we like to hope. Doctor Who fans are always going to do this when we see something like this. And we like to live in hope. The guy phoned DWM in advance. He was very disappointed, but they still interviewed. Some of the tapes from the collection were binned before the group stepped in. Sad to hear.
It'd be interesting to know if there is any.
Yeah, I think there's got to be some out there somewhere.
And just hopefully it's not slime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get to them in time. The chances are getting lower, but I don't know if they'll ever be zero. And certainly we'll never get every missing episode back, but we could very well get any missing episode back.
It'd be weird to think of. I don't want this going to sound really bad. I'll be disappointed if it's one that's been animated.
I know what you mean. Depends.
If it's Fury from the Deep, fine. I'll take that.
That's what I was thinking. But if it's something like the moon base or the invasion, as nice as it would be to have those complete, I suppose it's all like that false equivalence of, I'd rather have this than this. But when it's something like that, when it's something like a missing episode find, it's either this or nothing. So you take it no matter what. But yeah, I know what you mean. There's sort of like the hope of it's something that we've yet to experience in a visual medium of any kind. Recons aside.
Hmm.
But yeah, so I think Fury would definitely be great to have still. Because that animation didn't do the atmosphere of the story too many favors. Sarchwood says Fury would be a great find so people could finally get rid of the bad animation and the story's reputation could improve again. Yeah, it's funny with how much the reputation of things like the Macra Terror and Enemy of the World, not that it's been animated, but when that got out,
there you go.
how that improved. And for Macra Terror, when that was finally more accessible to people through the animation, that would improve a lot. But then something like Fury from the Deep, which was revered for so many years, it's on a similar level to Tomb before that find. And then, the animation just made people stop praising it as much, it seems. Because when you see the surviving clips, you feel like a lot of that. I mean, there's still some atmosphere there in the soundtrack, but it's really stunted by the lack of claustrophobic sets, the character models just being positioned very weirdly and uninterestingly on the screen. Yeah, you've heard it all before, but a lot of people have a lot of problems with that animation. Strange that this new collection has so many missing or rare things. It was owned by a guy who started Network Video, who are famous for their vintage releases. Odd he kept stuff for himself, says Tom. I've not looked into it that much, but it's interesting.
I've only seen sort of like the brief sort of cliff notes on Twitter about it, so I've not really dived into it.
Yeah. I suppose thing is, for that, you can't necessarily show them because you got to properly restore them, get the rights to them and stuff. Whereas, the collection, that's probably more of a hobby thing for him, I suppose. So it's just knowing that you've got them, even if you can't access them.
I mean, I guess it's for like a lot of people. Some people buy the collection sets without a Blu-ray player. In a way, you have these things, but you can't experience it.
Yeah. It's like people who buy Lego sets but don't open them.
Yeah.
It's like with things like the Star Wars Black Series, the Doctor Who action figures. I kind of get it when you've got the window there.
Yeah.
So you still get to see what you're getting, but with a Lego set.
Imagine if there's one piece missing. That'd be really annoying.
You never know. Yeah, there's only one way to find out. Dalek's Master Plan 11 would be good, as the paperwork implies different delegates were in that episode. I mean, yeah, the delegates are changing quite a bit, weren't they? When you look at Missions to the Unknown pictures to Master Plan costumes. They got that one character who has the weirdly long, like almost whisker things. I can't remember. which delegate he is. But then in the Fourth Doctor Adventures Series 6 Syndicate Master Plan, they explain it. They say like they grow when he feels threatened or something, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's rather it's a funny way of hand waving away that little visual inconsistency. Oh, fun fact, until Dalek's Master Plan 2 was returned, people assumed it was the same delegates, and it turned out they changed. Central apparently returned in episode 11.
Okay.
It's funny how some of these background things sort of slip through the cracks when it comes to, not having visual evidence. All right. Yeah, it would be nice to have that back one day, just to at least answer that question.
Yeah.
Yeah, do let us know in the chat as well which of the upcoming episodes you are most looking forward to for this season. Getting back to the main topic a bit. Not that, we never have to stick to one topic.
Yeah.
As much as we can. We'll bring ourselves back around and then go off down a different avenue again. Have you got like a favourite shooty moment so far?
Oh, I think it's got to be like the closing moments of Boom, or when he's off to rescue Ruby from the Maestro. When she's sort of suspended.
Yeah. I had the anger that he has in that moment. And determination. Yeah, that's rather brilliant. I think the fear of Maestro as well that he gets across. The running away, you only get one trick with the gods.
Yeah, that's a good line.
Yeah. That's all brilliant stuff. And then you obviously get your Tom Baker-esque moment from Pyramids of Mars with taking Ruby to her own time, only for it to be destroyed. I mean, how do you feel about that weird time skip as well?
It makes me question the original placement of the episodes.
I think it does work fine where it is. I think that line just should have been cut.
And it's like, Boom's the first time Ruby experiences an alien planet?
I think it gets more weird when you get to 73 yards, and that's explicitly taking place in winter. You got the snow coming down. That's probably like January, February time.
Yeah.
And it also then goes to see her mum. So how does that quite work with... Is that supposed to be 2025? But no, she said 2024.
24, yeah.
I just feel like it's that weird thing Russell does sometimes where he'll try to explicitly date something, but it just sort of awkward.
Just so it feels contemporary.
Yeah. It feels too tied down. It's like the Doctor's age. I'm glad that's not in this season. I think it's much better to leave things like that ambiguous. Yeah, maybe it was meant to be later in the season. I mean, it'd be interesting by the time we've had all the episodes if Rogue feels more like an episode 2.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it had to be one of the two. You had to have a historical there because it's the standard Russell, present, future, past setup. I Scarf's pointing out I didn't even know him for that long when they've travelled together for at least 6 months by that point, apparently. Yeah, I mean, maybe Ruby, for some reason, just wanted to visit June. Maybe she's just a summer girl.
Maybe.
Just skip ahead a bit, why not? I thought 73 yards wasn't necessarily set in winter. It was Ruby who caused the snow, did she not? I don't think she caused that snow.
You got snow on like the hillside when she's going towards the actual pub itself.
Yeah. I mean, you have the people in the pub as well, pointing out that who goes out
without a jacket, and you're like,
Yeah.
she's got a jacket on. I hate that. I hate
More-
lines like that. I hate those stuff. But you can easily change that on the day.
But yeah, it certainly seemed like the hiker was more dressed for that weather day. Like even it might not necessarily be winter, but I don't think it's the height of summer like June or July 2024.
That was the weird thing with that. 1 minute you looked out the window, it was snowing. Next minute it was raining. Then it was snowing. Then it was raining. The continuity for the window. And then you looked out and it was sort of dry as a bone when you were looking at the woman. It didn't look right.
I suppose the snow just melted.
Yeah, but you'd see like the path would be a bit all slushy, but when you see the woman outside, it's pretty dry.
I think the snow must not have settled.
But it's pretty much set on the roof, and like the actual. Well, I guess the hills are high up, so it would settle there.
I'll rewatch it again and pay particular attention to the snow and the rain.
You should.
I like that the snow actually plays into the episodes, unlike other arcs such as Bad Wolf. Yeah, you sort of got both going on because the Susan Twist stuff seems to be more of your Bad Wolf, whereas the snow sort of has a bit more intertwining into it. It's odd that it's not really been questioned too much yet, though. You get a bit in Space Babies, but it just sort of happens now, and the Doctor moves on.
Well, you get the nice bit of the snow in the TARDIS.
Yeah. And you get the snowflake at the end of...
Boom.
Yeah. It's odd that Ruby doesn't seem too fussed about the fact that she can make it snow.
I mean, old Ruby was, one time I made it snow.
All right, Ruby, let's get you to your bed.
Light.
We had that when I was young. Love old Ruby. Oh, that's another... I love how they did the future in 73 Yards. I kept a lot of it ambiguous. Again, Russell, ambiguity is a strength. Use it. Don't pin down a weird June date for no reason and then keep it in the episode when you know it was. He's just doing it to rile us up. He knows Dr. Who fans can have a discourse about it. So he's like, yeah, I'll throw that in there. But yeah, there's a line about the Jeep not getting signals so they can't go any further. Like, does that mean that now things are powered through a signal to like wireless electricity or something? I don't know quite how that works. And obviously it's not meant to be explained. But yeah, it's interesting how it's tried to suggest this idea of technology developing further. When you got that line from Roger William of his name not being like an app you used to have on your phone as well.
Yeah.
Where were we? I mean, even the set design as well for towards the end with Ruby's little home gives us some futuristic-ish.
I mean, the fashion didn't feel very futuristic, though.
Nah. But I feel like it worked well enough, though, because it felt like you weren't necessarily, seeing the wider picture. It was all very much through Ruby's perspective.
Right.
I mean, ultimately, sometimes style don't change as much. It's not necessarily going to be the everyone wearing the Seeds of Death style jumpsuit things, what have they got going on there? Scar says, Bill's more Impossible Girl than Bad Wolf, which just reminded me that they never finished that arc in Series 7. You suppose technically never did follow up on the name of the Doctor cliffhanger.
Yeah. That's a big finish thing.
If you thought that was a questionable time jump, watch Primeval Series 3.
See, I started watching during Series 3.
I know I watched it, but I can't remember what the time jump was. Been a long time.
I mean, they've been
that
on
was one of
telly
those-
recently, actually,
Yeah.
and I found myself sort of got stuck watching bits of it.
I guess I've got to go back to, because I vaguely remember it, but I could not tell you anything about it. It's just like, I know I watched it. I know I enjoyed it.
I mean, you got Van Gogh in. I forgot.
Really?
Yeah, he plays like a medieval knight, and he's
And they
going
got
around
Ben
like a
Miller in
scrap, like a car scrapyard, and he's like trying to kill a dragon dinosaur.
there. Yeah. You got Ruth Bradley as well, haven't you?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, the Van Gogh actor said he'd like to come back to Doctor Who, didn't he?
Yeah, it'd be nice.
Which would work playing a different character, because that's been
It's been long enough.
Yeah. He pops up in quite a few places. It's Tony Curran, isn't it?
Yeah, Tony Curran. Yeah, he's been in. Yeah,
He's done Sherlock. I feel like he must have done Sherlock.
Don't think he was in Sherlock.
Yeah, he was in Daredevil, playing an Irish monster in that. Episode 1 of Primeval Series 3 takes place months after Series 2. Yeah, they're treating it like a recent event that the next 3 episodes take place in a matter of days, yet Series 2 not mentioned. Bit of an anomaly.
Quite literally.
Yeah.
Primer was full of those.
Yeah, I mean, you sort of get... Because the way the Doctor and Ruby are acting for quite a lot of it does feel like it's still pretty fresh for them. Like when she's saying, you asked if I wanted to go anywhere, this is where I pick. That was from the end of Space Babies, wasn't it? So it definitely feels like it's designed to follow on from it. Yeah, who knows? Maybe it'll all make sense somehow.
Yeah, that's what we can hope for. That's the good thing about being halfway through a series. Good, there's still hope.
Yeah.
It could all turn out fine.
It's not something I've got that much hope for. And again, it's not something that really bothers me because it doesn't take away anything. It's just one of those weird things you think, why can't that just be different?
Yeah.
But who knows? Richard E. Grant is still just floating around in the Doctor's time stream with no explanation whatsoever. I mean, wasn't that the point of Clara going in there, that she sort of cancelled it out?
It's been ages since I've watched it.
Yeah, I can't say I'm tempted to go back anytime soon.
You probably rewatch Dot on Bubble before you watch Name of a Doctor again.
Tom Curley says that's interesting. Richard E. Grant, especially when Moth finished Boom with a single snowflake, which was just like the opener to the Snowmen.
That's true. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, Saraswat says Clara stopped intelligence by entering the time stream. I would rewatch Name almost over any recent episode. Wow.
I mean, Matt Smith is a better Doctor, but that's just me.
I've been enjoying a bit of Matt Smith recently too. Did the Angels 2-parter and the Silence 2-parter.
Those are crackers. Those are good episodes.
Yeah, I mean, particularly the Angel 2-part. That is Chef's Kiss quintessential Doctor Who.
Oh yeah, especially with being Matt's first as well. You're like, he really got it. He just got it.
That was like fresh off Boom. I was like, I'm in the mood for more of my Marines. Get the Anglicans, support the Anglicans. Yeah, I mean, there's some wonderful moments there. I think the Bishop in that, he is a brilliant character who works very well as a foil for the Doctor. And then, that death is heartbreaking. Sarge says, how does the Silence Parter hold up after knowing where it all goes? There's a lot of strengths within it that work very well, but it does feel a bit weird thinking, right, so they're doing all this for a spacesuit. to put River Song into, but not have her allowed to be in control. But it still needs to be River Song for some reason. I don't. Maybe it's just because they had faith.
Gotta keep the faith.
Isn't she called out by the doctor? Like, surely Rubika would leave Grant floating around to mess up the cannon. Maybe cannon has been messed up since then.
The universe is knackered, babes. Blame it on Flux and the Time War. Flux has become the new Time War now.
Yeah, there we go. Half the universe wiped out. Yeah, maybe that's why we're seeing less aliens now.
Yeah, it's just been wiped out. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Russell knows what he's doing. Clara's pulled by the doctor, but after she stops the intelligence, the Stardust One, the splinters are still stopping him, even though she leaves the time stream. Yeah, I suppose if she's at the bottom of the time stream, she's already splintered all off. I don't know quite how it works. I don't know quite how a time stream works. It doesn't work. It's sci-fi. This is how this all works. The TARDIS didn't get big in what?
Time of it. Oh no.
Right. But then again, I suppose not as much time had passed.
Yeah.
Is there even an interior in there still? Did that retreat as well? Because the light goes off.
Yeah.
Is it tragic that I'm looking at Ben's blue door and I'm reminded of Ruby and Mrs. Flood's blue front doors, which Russell kept referencing as if it was important?
What was it? Was it count something? Count the panels or count the window? I don't know. There was something like daft he said about that.
Yeah, I know in the initial thing he was like, but what's going on with those doors?
Behind it, DVDs and collection.
That's
Mrs. Flood's got like all her Blu-rays behind the door.
Yeah. I mean, that's what happens when you collect Big Finish. You get so many of them, you run out of room. You gotta just stack them all the way to your front door.
Yeah, and she's just become a massive hoarder.
Yeah, it was the color, and both were blue. Yeah, I mean that's because we don't really had much more of Mrs. Flood, really, have we? Since
we had a bit in 73 Hours going, this isn't my story, I'm out.
Yeah, exactly. But even when she's there, she's just like.
I mean, we had Anita Dobson's husband in 73 Yards, Brian May.
Oh.
Because that was a joke. That was a terrible joke.
Oh no.
Because the woman's hair's like the Brian May's hair. That's terrible. I'll never say that again.
I was thinking, which one was Brian? Is there another actor called Brian May?
No.
And I got you with the woman who was 73 yards away. Yeah, like old Brian May.
It's the old hair that does it.
Even mentioned it in the annual too.
Oh.
Yeah, this must be a season 2 reveal. Yeah, maybe. I felt like they're definitely saving some things for season 2.
That makes sense. It makes sense.
He's the Rani.
Of course. It has to be the Rani. Always the Rani.
Do you think we will see any more Time Lords at all again?
Oh, yeah, I think we'll see Time Lords again.
Yeah. Do we get be the Master next, though, or do we get another one first?
I think we'll get a left field Time Lord. I don't think we'd get any of the main ones.
We've got the left field choice of the toy maker, so left field is Russell Stahl at the moment.
Morbius.
Everyone loves a bit of Morbius at the moment.
It's Morbin time. A season regenerated into adult. That's it. I think you're right there.
Yeah.
I think you're absolutely right.
Can't break your ankle if you don't have an ankle to break.
Exactly.
Just twist a knob instead.
Oof.
I saw someone say it would be hilarious if they do bring Narani back to have the character be played by a man instead. Just despite everyone who theorizes every female character who's slightly mysterious being Narani. That'd be rather amusing. It's now less than 2 hours until Dot Bubble. Certainly. I'm still excited. Do you feel like talking about all this through has got you more excited, or?
Not really. I'm not. I'm not looking forward to Dot Bubble. It's the one where I was like, that's not going to be my episode. Even when the titles were revealed, I was like, yeah, I'm betting that's going to be the one I don't like.
I mean, we now know what it means, though.
Yeah.
A literal dot and a literal bubble.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm sure it'll pay off great, and I'm excited to see the shooty scene, because apparently that's the moment what blew everyone away. I mean, that's the one he's talked about a lot. So I want to see that to see if I go, yeah, that's it. He's the Doctor. But it seems, is it Doctor Light? I assume it's going to be like a Doctor Light one, isn't it?
Seems, yeah, reasonably Doctor Companion Light. Because certainly, is it Callie Cook?
Yeah.
Yeah, like she's been described as starring in this episode.
So is she going to be in the title sequence then?
Ooh, don't know. I doubt it, because it was still Shooty first, then Millie for 73 yards.
Yeah.
Will we get a title sequence, or will it be a weird one again?
In a bubble.
Yeah. I mean, in the preview they put out, you do get the sting before the titles. So, yeah, I think we're getting titles of some kind.
It just seems a bit bizarre having like a sort of two Doctor Light stories back to back.
But I suppose the middle of the season seems like the best place to do it, at least. So you've had your time.
I don't know. I'm just thinking of like new audience members, really. How well that plays out, but you haven't got your main character there.
But with 8 episodes, they're always going to be fairly close together, no matter what. It's perhaps better to just get it over and done with in one go rather than spreading it out. I can't really say I missed the Doctor in 73 yards anyway.
No.
I think they're strong enough on their own to work, hopefully. Yeah, certainly it'll be the more interesting one, though, because now it's not just Doctor Light, but perhaps Ruby Light as well.
Yeah.
It's hard to say to what extreme that is. Like, will we see them in person at all, or will they always just be on the other end of the screen?
Yeah, I mean, are we going to see the TARDIS materialise? I don't know. Is the TARDIS actually going to be on fine time?
Yeah. Yeah, they could be sending messages in from anywhere. Yeah, Tom says, Dot and Bubble is giving me Macroterra vibes. Agreed.
See it.
Scarf says Jeremy Clarkson as the Rani. I see the vision.
Makes sense. I see it.
I mean, they are both geniuses, and their geniuses are frightening.
I like this, but this is brilliant.
So she says about the groping tree. It feels like RTD's version of the Natural History of Fear. Have you listened to that?
I can see it. Yeah, I can see that now you mention it, actually. Yeah, it's a good fit. Maybe we might listen to that before. See what compares.
Oh, you better get started.
I think we're nearly wrapping up now, aren't we? So I think we're nearly done.
We'll say goodbye shortly.
Um,
What do you think about the rumor that Rogue might be Captain Jack? I'm not convinced myself, but it's possible.
no, I don't think it will be.
Discount the possibility completely. I don't necessarily want it to be the case, though.
Hmm.
I mean, that'd be wild if in a season that is written almost entirely by Russell and Moffat, the one that features Captain Jack is the one that's not written by either of them.
Hmm.
I think it'll be original character.
Yeah, I'd like it to be.
Who's apparently going to have a big impact on the Doctor's life. But again, that just sort of feels like your standard.
It's your little. Oh, I must watch and find out. Well, it's not going to be. I don't think it'd be a big revelation or a big change. No.
It's like everything is about to change that they put in the trailers all the time, particularly in the Chibnall era. They loved making out these things to be important. I remember with Can You Hear Me? It was like 2 episodes to go until the finale begins. It's like, well, that just sort of feels like we're treading water for a little bit.
Yeah, and to be honest, we've been treading water for 2 weeks with like Praxis and Can You Hear Me anyway?
Yeah, it was weird how they handled the arcs that season.
Yeah. Oh, and then it's like you don't want to miss the next episode. It was like Orphan 55. You're like, yeah, I could happily have missed that.
Yeah. God. I'm happy with where we are now.
Yeah. I'll take it.
I think as well, even if the ideas don't necessarily call to me instantly, I've still got faith in Russell as a writer to do some good execution. Yeah, it's been a fun one.
It's been good. It's been good to check in and actually dive in and talk about season 1. And I'm sure maybe once the season's finished, we can do like a RTD2 tier list.
Yeah, I imagine we will. Do like a full review as well, getting our thoughts out on each episode in hindsight with the full picture revealed to us, or at least some of it, because we know some stuff's going to be saved for season 2. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see where things go. Like I say, I'm very much on board at the moment. Been really enjoying it so far, and yeah, really enjoying just having this much engagement with Doctor Who on TV again. I love, loading it up at midnight and then switching over to Unleashed afterwards to get the behind the scenes. Got a nice little routine. It'll be a shame to lose that in a month's time. Guy Griss says, sorry, I've had to dip out in and out of this stream this evening. It's been a lovely stream, though. Thank you.
Bless you
for joining us while you could. It was wonderful seeing you in the chat, Guy.
And I appreciate it.
All of you as well. Thank you, Scarf, Tom, Sam. If you're rewatching this now, thank you very much. Stylish One, Hoover Small Collection, Daniel Hager. Have I forgotten anyone? I'm very sorry if I have.
Let's have a little look.
Oh, we had one. There's someone I've forgotten. I'm
Mongoose.
God, we've named so many.
Yeah, Rob the Mongoose.
Rob the Mongoose. Thank you, Rob the Mongoose. There we go.
And then Greg. Thank you. It's been good checking in with everyone.
Some new faces.
If we don't,
thank you all.
It's been good.
Yeah, Scarf Guy and Tom. Let us know. Have you been lurkers for a while here on the chat? Have you been watching?
Or are you new?
Joining the chat? Yeah, or are you new completely?
It's good. It's good to have new faces. So we can build a nice community of Doctor Who fans.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll get back in. We're sort of getting back into streaming a little bit more regularly, aren't we? We're never quite going to go as full on as we did last year again.
No, not like every week, but maybe one a month. Check in.
We do have plans for at least one more in the near future, looking back at Sontarans versus Rootons. Now that series is over. I think that we sort of need to give it a re-listen now that we have the full context. But, yeah, we certainly got some things to say there, and it just feels right to do it in a stream. We've done the videos, we've done the individual reviews, so why not overview it in a different format? I've been watching your stuff for a while, but I had to watch the streams after the fact. Okay.
Oh,
That makes sense, guy. Well, glad you're finally able to
catch us.
Catch us live. Thank you for joining us. I suppose all that's left to say now is farewell to everyone. And again, thank you all for watching. If you're watching on playback later, don't be shy. Do leave a comment down below as well.
Let us know your favourite episodes so far and episodes you're looking forward to coming up.
Let us know your thoughts on Dot and Bubble as well, because that'll probably be out by the time you're rewatching this. I mean, how long? An hour and a half to go.
Yeah, I mean, thanks everyone for joining our bubble for a couple of hours.
Yeah.
Been good.
Is there
been good.
Pun we can throw in here? Probably not.
I mean, we do have to put a dot in it at some point and stop it.
Yeah, I suppose we do. Oh, Tom's just got back saying, "Yes, Sam, I've been watching the videos and enjoying it. Found you live by chance. With great, thanks."
Oh, nice.
Maybe the algorithm's catching on a bit and seeing that we go live and pushed it a bit more.
We're like, oh, go on, but go for it.
When you're at the mercy of the YouTube algorithm, you never can be too sure. There's people out there who will want to watch us, but just don't know that we're live because that's just how it works. So if that's you and you've not subscribed, please consider subscribing. Leave a like.
Turn those notification bells on so you never miss when we go live. You know, we like to keep you on your toes.
I'm hypocritical though. I never turn notifications on. So I feel like I just get a stream of notifications that I just end up ignoring.
But anyway, thank you everyone for joining us. Don't be Luke. Don't drink rum and coke when you're live, because who knows what'll happen. He starts singing about his dog called Fred. Yeah.
He is alive, he's not dead.
And on that bombshell, we shall bid you a good night. Enjoy Dot and Bubble, and we'll see you.
Following you. I'm very sorry. Don't send anyone up to talk to him. It won't end well.
Yeah.
If Jeremy Clarkson is the Rani, then I'll eat my shoe.
And don't pay £5 for a Coke, because Cozzy lives.
Yeah. 65 quid for a room for the night is fairly reasonable.
I think that's very good. That's very good.
I think it balances out with the Coke, really, doesn't it?
I can't fault that. No. And if you need a pasty in Wales, go to that pub. They've got enough for 3 weeks.
You want a yogurt and some toast? There you go.
I mean, it did look
by that yogurt.
I thought I'd have ate that up.
Yeah, it didn't look too bad.
Yeah.
We're rambling.
We'll see you very soon. Thank you everyone for watching, and we'll see you around. Bye bye.
Take care, everyone.